Abraham Lincoln.
Louisiana Purchase, that's a name.
You need to really get off my balls, okay? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
What's up, everybody? Episode 336 of the All You Can Hear podcast. I am one of your three co-hosts, Tanner, and with me, I was going to say per usual. Usually if I'm here, they're here, but usually if they're here, it doesn't mean I'm here. But we have Colt.
Did that pick up?
No, not
No,
1 second.
Oh my god, thanks, Discord. Fuck, I was making monkey noises.
Oh, you want to try it quieter? And we have Colt.
What about that?
Yeah, it doesn't come
heard
across. Yeah,
It doesn't come across as monkey though.
yeah, I don't get monkey from that, but okay. And we have Wenzel. Yeah, that's definitely way more monkey.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to finally. This has been on my mind for weeks. I'm so excited to sit down with Colt and Wenzel, talk all things Dune 2. I've just been thinking about it for so long now, and I'm ready to talk Dune with you guys.
Paul? Crazy guy.
This quirked up white boy want to talk about a quirked up white boy.
Dune?
I'm just ready to goon about Dune.
Dune
2?
Dune 2 goon?
Paula Dune.
Doing 2 dudes on this Dune 2 podcast,
See, okay, so I didn't expect y'all to go with the bit.
So this is your amazing, fantastical bit that you had.
Well,
planned
y'all
this week.
didn't. Yeah.
What do you want us to do?
Well, I thought y'all were gonna react like, actually, Tanner, this isn't the Dune episode, and then I was gonna like be really depressed.
Oh,
shit.
actually,
Yeah.
Tanner, this isn't the Dune episode.
Fuck!
Damn.
Damn.
Really?
Yeah.
You know,
What about can I still use my Dune notes?
I mean, maybe.
you
Depends on
could.
what you wrote.
I have 19 pages.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's good enough for a book. Let's release it.
All right, we'll stop the recording. We're good. That's the whole episode.
Okay.
But we're actually here today to talk about Dune 1. No, I'm just kidding. We're actually here to talk about when we went to Comic-Con last month. And we did it last year. Y'all seem to really like it. So we're doing it again just a little later than we have done it before because we had to get all the best of 2023 out of the way. And then Colt and Wenzel actually did release a Dune 2, I guess, spoiler cast. Y'all didn't go too heavy on the spoilers, I guess.
We spoiled it.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all spoiled it, but so I was listening to another one earlier, and it literally spoiled Dune Messiah, the book.
Oh
So,
yeah. I mean, we didn't spoil Dune Messiah, but we spoiled Dune 2 heavily. Like I said, mild spoilers at the beginning. Colt goes right into spoiling the whole fucking thing.
wow. I feel like
Tradition.
I feel like it's a hard movie to discuss without spoiling it, though.
No, it is. It is.
Like unless you just went, man, those worms are cool.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Worm's cool.
It's hard not to just because of like the character arcs, because
Yeah.
literally big things happen and you can't talk about them without addressing them. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It was a great episode. Y'all should go listen to it.
Thank
But,
you.
We're here to talk about Comic-Con. So I know we talked about it at the convention. Wenzel, it was your second Comic-Con?
Yes, it was my second one.
And then Colt, it was your fourth?
Yes. Number
And then-
4.
And then it was also my fourth.
Ooh.
Yeah, and if you don't know, and local, I say it's local, but it's actually grown to be one of, I guess, the bigger anime conventions in the southeastern part of the US.
Technically, it started local.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, technically it started extremely local, but this was like the 15th iteration of it. So it's gotten pretty big.
Yep.
3 days, anime your typical anime convention fair.
Yep.
We usually make a weekend out of it. We made a weekend out of it. And yeah, that's what we're discussing today. And again, at least for me, I don't know about y'all. Some things may be a little hazy. I may need some reminding because it was over a month ago when we went.
Yeah,
at this
no,
point.
we're super late on doing this episode because, like Tanner said, we had so much to put out for February, and then not only that, scheduling, like
Yeah.
it's just been tough. We
Yeah.
want to do this though, just because we still had some fun experiences there, and like Tanner said, last year we did it and people enjoyed it, so we want to do it again. So yeah, we'll definitely have to remind each other quite a bit. Yeah.
And hopefully I can listen to this episode before we go next year. I'm going to make a note for myself right now. Tanner, you can go inside and get a ticket for the parking deck before you park.
I will say I have been sitting here remembering that since that's the only thing I say only thing. One thing
That's the only thing I remember from the convention.
That's the only thing I've made sure to make it into concrete, into my brain, is that there is a way to cheat the system.
There is a way to cheat the system.
And it is a good way.
With
parking.
Yeah, with parking.
Should I go ahead and tell them? Or should I
I thought you were supposed to go to the parking deck first and to make it cheaper.
Oh, yeah. So, okay.
So don't go in.
Don't go in. No, you're right, Colt.
Wait. What?
Because wouldn't it have been like 60-something bucks?
Okay, yeah. No, I see what you're saying. No. So what you want to do is you want to go to the parking deck. Don't go into the hotel first. Go to the parking deck. If you're staying at the Westin or Sheraton, go into the parking deck. Do not go into the hotel. Get your parking right then and there if you plan not to leave the convention. If you plan not to leave the convention,
which you don't have to.
You don't have to, but if you do it like this, it is significantly cheaper. If you do plan, don't do it like this. Go in, get your parking pass. But if you don't plan to leave, go in, get the parking ticket right then and there. You will only have to pay $35 the whole weekend.
Yep. Versus like $27 a day.
Yes. And if you leave the parking deck, then you'll have to pay again.
Yeah.
I think. So
yeah. The way it works, you would have to pay to re-enter the parking deck.
It's really stupid.
Yeah. But there's so many restaurants literally just a mere 100 feet away from the convention center. You kind of really don't have to leave.
And those restaurants, dude, they're so fucking good.
I have not been disappointed by one of the places we have eaten at for Comic-Con the last 2 years yet. So,
dude, I'm still thinking about that goddamn chicken I had that one night. It's so good.
Yeah. So last year we went to, I don't remember, what was the place we went to last year called?
It was the Mexican Grill.
Yeah, it was the Mexican place. La Cantina. Yeah, I was thinking El Cantina, but I should have knew it was La. So we went to La Cantina. It was really good. And we ate at Mugshots, which is like a regional burger joint. Yeah. But it's like to my knowledge, it's only in the Southeast. It could have expanded over recent years, but to my knowledge, it's like a Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee thing.
Yeah.
So we
got to get our peanut butter burgers. Got to get them.
Got to get that. Also, got to get the $3 mimosas on Saturdays because they do a 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. happy hour on Saturdays, which is absolutely insane. So you got to get those $3 mimosas. But this year we ate at a place called the Southern, which was extremely good.
Ooh.
I just want that chicken so much. I just want it, please.
So, Colt, you got the Nashville hot chicken?
Yes.
Yeah. I tried a little bit of it. Very good. I got I got a regular chicken sandwich, but it's very good. It's one of the best chicken sandwiches I've ever had.
And I got, I believe, a steak sandwich.
A steak sandwich?
I think you got the Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
No, not Philly. No, because it's not shredded like a Philly cheesesteak. I think it's supposed to be like a steak po' boy, I guess. I just pulled up a picture of it. I forgot what it looked like. But yeah, it has like the chipotle sauce. I guess it is kind of like a Philly, but it's like higher grade beef.
You can always look at it. Don't worry about pauses because I promise you I will be able to edit them tonight. So if you want to look it up real quick, you can. It doesn't matter.
He's looking at it right now.
I'm looking at a picture of it. I don't remember exactly
the menu. Like if you want to look at the menu real quick. If you want to order something.
Yeah, I'm gonna call DoorDash and get something delivered from 45 minutes out. I also got some cheese grits, which were fine.
He didn't finish them.
I did finish them.
No.
But I also got the jalapeno honey French fries. Ooh. Let me tell you.
Oh, those. I think you let us try them.
Yeah.
You let Wenzel try them. I didn't want those filthy French fries.
Yeah, I said, Wenzel, you want some? Colt, fuck off.
Yeah.
Is actually what I said. But it was extremely
Very
good.
good.
But Wenzel and I also got dessert.
Oh.
Which was probably the best thing I ate all weekend. The blueberry cobbler cheesecake.
Yeah, it is very good.
God damn. Whew.
I was so full after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was honestly perfect because the chicken sandwich and the side you get, the fries or whatever you get, like at any side, I guess. It's like the chicken is so thin, but it's so like you still get a lot out of it, and then it's just completely like perfect for room for dessert.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, it was definitely. It's not like a normal restaurant we would eat at, because I would say it wasn't a sports bar. It was definitely.
They had a dude playing jazz on the stage.
They did have a live guy.
They did have a live guy that I think it was Wenzel or maybe it was Colt talking shit about. Well, and then the waitress overheard. It was like, yeah, he sometimes just shows up like 2 hours before his set to warm up.
Yeah, she literally was just like, he's actually warming up right now.
Yeah, I was doing a bit.
No,
I was saying, dude, this guy sucks. Wenzel, go up there and show him who's boss.
Colt did say that. Colt, you said that exactly.
Yeah, I think that was actually verbatim what Colt said. So that was really funny. But yeah, it was unlike I don't know. I always like eating at new places, obviously, when we travel and stuff. And this place was really good. I'd heard some things about it, but it definitely is not like our usual fare of restaurant, I would say.
Yeah, on the outside when I see it, I get confusing it with that other grill that's like, I think right next to it. That is way pricier.
Texas Day Brazil.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. No, this place was really, really nice. I mean, fairly affordable.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Like I had a drink and dessert, and I mean, I think I came out under $30. So I mean, it wasn't expensive.
Same. Yeah, very good.
And then we also had Chinese the other night, which was a lot of food for very cheap.
Man, just talking about food real quick. God, man, that Chinese was good.
Yeah, we got to talk about. Let's just talk about food first, okay? Got to mention too, before we get to the Chinese food, Mugshot's brunch. Mm-hmm. I think how many mimosas? How many mimosas did we have? I know we had the same amount.
We had 3 each.
Okay, nice.
Which well, I'm trying to think how I want to put it here. So I would say I can handle my alcohol very well. Also, keep in mind nobody was driving. We were walking to the convention center. I can handle my alcohol very well. Wenzel, I thought the first time I had ever drank with Wenzel that Wenzel could handle his alcohol very well. And since Wenzel drinks so infrequently, and Wenzel, let me know if this is unfair to say, I would consider Wenzel, I don't want to say a lightweight, but Wenzel kind of lets the alcohol immediately take him over.
Yeah, he'll throw open his mouth and stuff.
No, it's so funny. I really, okay, so this is my superpower. I
can't wait to hear about it.
literally that first time, obviously when we went out the first time I drank and stuff,
Literally
I
like the month before COVID.
everybody was like, "Wow, Wenzel can really handle it well." Like, that's because I can hide it. It's like an on and off switch where
That's how
I
you're
guess
able to drive after.
nope.
No.
Don't say that.
Officer, I didn't have a single thing.
No, it's just when I know it's fun, I can just turn it on and be like, "Oh, like this I can just be stupid."
Yeah, but it is funny how fast it happens.
No, it's totally because I'm so infrequent that like I
Yeah.
just let it take it over. Like I don't fight I mean you can't fight it, but
Yeah.
I'm just like it just loosens me up. It's fun, I just go with it. I go with the
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah, that's like me. Like like I would say I have more than one drink in a row, maybe every 3 months now. Like very very infrequent compared to my early 20s. But it was so fun. I think Wenzel got halfway through his first mimosa and he's like, "Guys, I'm feeling it."
I love doing that because I'm like
It's
I
my
will
favorite bit. Actually, Wenzel, one of the best bits I think you've ever done is when we went to Huntsville, and I'm sure we talked about this in the Huntsville video or in the Huntsville podcast. When we went to that sandwich shop, which I actually believe just recently closed. I think I saw an article
man.
that the toy box closed in Huntsville. I may be making it up, but I'm almost positive it just closed.
They had
All right,
some
Tanner,
delicious hairy balls.
you're making me kind of depressed.
Yeah, but anyways, Wenzel got a cider that they had. To be fair, it was like 8%. It was a very stout cider, but Wenzel drank it and he's like, "Oh, I'm like feeling it," and we're like, "Oh, haha, Wenzel," and then we walk immediately next door to like a used bookshop. And Wenzel's like lagging behind a little bit, which is pretty odd for Wenzel because Wenzel's usually like the front of the pack usually. And Wenzel's like lagging behind. We're like, "Wenzel, he's good," and Wenzel's like, "Yeah, I threw up in my mouth."
Yep.
He was like, "Not like a drunk throw up, but like I hiccuped and then I just puked."
I was so like no, I was feeling it so hard. Like
Mhm.
I was so like the room, like literally as soon as we get up and get out, everything was starting to spin. I was like, holy fucking shit, what is happening right now? I was freaking out. So that's why I was like lagging so because I was like, I was having to take it easy. I was like, shit, dude, this cider is killing me right now.
Yeah. Also, I can confirm Toy Box Bistro is permanently closed in Huntsville.
Oh, dude.
Man.
Yeah.
That was a good
That's-
place.
Yeah,
That
it was
was
good.
such a good place.
It was.
Do you think we still have time to steal the toys?
Mm,
I don't know.
I doubt it.
That was all like the owner's like personal collection.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say the owner probably got all of his stuff out.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. Man, that sucks though. That place
ugh.
was really good. But yeah, I saw an article about it and I didn't think or maybe I saw it on Reddit or something. And I didn't think I was making it up, but yeah, I had to Google it. They permanently closed last month.
Ah, shit. That sucks. Okay.
Yep.
But back to the mimosas though. I will say these mimosas, last time we got them, it was more champagne than orange
Mhm.
juice. But this time it was more orange juice and champagne, or
Mhm.
it was like a perfect mix. It was so good. Whoever made the mimosas this time, you did an awesome job.
Yeah, they were definitely, which I prefer my mimosas like 70 champagne, 30 orange juice. This was like probably legitimately 50-50 if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But also you're only paying $3, so I understand that. And it's $3 for like a flute. So, if you want to do 50-50, that's completely fine. Because again, $9 can get you where you need to go.
Yeah. And where we had to go was the Comic-Con floor.
Yeah.
We won't get to that though. We're going to talk about the next place that we ate.
Chinese.
We got
What was
we
that
got
place
together.
called?
Chinese Kitchen?
No, it had like a really weird name. Like
It had a very generic Chinese restaurant name.
it had China and Express in it, but it had like one or two other words.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
No, I think it was. I'm looking on my DoorDash right now. China Master Express.
Yeah.
Oh,
was what it was called.
Okay. You know what? They have that name.
Yeah,
they
can
are the
they can
Master
have it.
Express.
It was honestly like, God, I've had a lot of Chinese takeout in my life. We used to have
I love that shit. It's so good.
we have had a phenomenal stretch of Chinese takeout places where we live. Shout out Pearl Garden that used to be inside the mall. God, shout out any, if you've been a Chinese takeout place in Central Alabama in the last 30 years, I've
what's
eaten at
up.
you, and I appreciate you.
Yes.
That being said, also shout out to fucking Golden Dragon down in Gulf Shores. Incredible Chinese takeout. This was probably the best Chinese takeout I've ever had.
Yeah, it was so good, and it was a lot. Like so much. Like
they
I
loaded.
Oh, I felt like I was gonna bust. Like
they loaded the plates up. The egg rolls were greasy, but like the perfect level of grease that you want.
Yes.
The rice was fantastic. All the chicken was fantastic. Man, shout out. Also, even with the DoorDash price, it was still like I was like right at $60 for like 3 combo plates and like 6 egg rolls and sauces and all that. But that was like with tip, with delivery fee, because I don't have Fast Pass or whatever, because DoorDash doesn't even deliver to my house. And all that. But still, like incredibly, like I think we could have probably have gotten all that food for like $12 a piece if we would have went in person. But
yeah, no, it was on the menu, like total, it would have been like $12-13 maybe. So good. Like
I need that place to stay open for as long as we go to Comic-Con.
Yes, that will be like the move for takeout.
Yeah, the plates were literally going to bust open with how much rice and chicken they put in there. I couldn't even finish mine. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot. Also, before we actually get into Comic-Con, I know we're like 20 minutes in, but I do want to say, and I think we discussed it, I think the play for next year is we get there on Thursday.
Yeah.
Because it gives us all day at the convention on Friday, as opposed to like a half day or not a half day, but like a 75% day at the convention on Friday. Get there on Thursday, which is, I've done that before. I did that with the Art House crew in 2019,
I think.
Yeah, because it was right before Riley and I met. And that I think that's the move. You get like a whole night to just settle in, get to wake up however late you want to on Friday, and immediately go down to the convention, because the convention doesn't open till like noon on Friday. I think it's the move. With that being said, I think we should make Chinese takeout our night one tradition, our new night one tradition next year going forward.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we should get China Master Express.
I agree with that, because that will be, and then Mugshots is always our brunch.
Yeah, Mugshots always Saturday morning tradition, because we never stay for Sunday, really. No. Like because
too tired.
I mean, usually too tired after 2 full days of convention. Also, just with hotel checkout on Sunday, it makes things easier. Like, I think if any of us were to go on the show floor on Sunday, it would solely be to do one last pass of like the, I guess like the, oh my
vendor.
God, the vendor hall.
Yeah.
But like we did our like big pass on Friday and Saturday. Which actually I think we should start when we talk about Comic-Con. I think we should start with the vendor hall, because it was the first place we went to this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say this, compared to last year, we were actually at the vendor hall with much less time this year than when we were last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there's a reason for that. But I'll let you guys go ahead.
So I'm going to give my opinion. So this year this was the first year it's ever been completely filled. Like, I don't think they could have got one more booth in the vendor hall. Even last year, there were still like, I would say probably half a row's worth of empty space.
Yeah.
But this year, and I don't know if there was actually more booths or they let certain vendors have bigger booths, because it felt like to me there was a lot more bigger booths this year than there was last year. So I don't know if there was actually more vendors or that there was like singular vendors were just taking up more space.
I want to say it's the latter. I think there was vendors had bigger spaces.
Yeah. Which is always a good, especially for like, you know, the people that don't take up that space. Like it looked like everybody had like plenty of room to move behind the booths, which was nice.
But then again, there's those giant like generic vaporwave artists that's taking up like 4 vendor slots. Same thing with the prop people.
Yeah.
Taking up like 8 spots.
Yeah. And there was actually 2 prop booths this year. Which they were like on opposite sides of the convention hall, but
they're
like
selling the exact same stuff.
Yeah, it's the exact company.
Sorry, they're taking up the exact same space.
Yeah, and they're both end caps too, which makes like going down because the way. So at Comic-Con, the way the vendor hall is set up, and I know it's probably like this at most major conventions, but in case you've never been to a convention, it's pretty much divided into what I would say equal to like 5 halls. And you can snake your way through each like row of booths. Like you go down one hall and you can see 2 rows of tables. And I would say there was like 5 of those this year, and they were packed. Here's my problem with the vendor hall at Comic-Con. I don't think they really plan well how many people are going to be there, and there's not a ton of room.
Yeah.
To get in between people. Like literally like a table, if a table has like 3 or 4 people in front of it on both sides, it is almost impossible to make it down the middle of those.
And the amount of time that some people spend at these tables is frustrating.
It's super frustrating.
Because I'm like, all right, I'll come back. I'll loop back around. Maybe I can get in there. I loop back around. Still there. All right, maybe I'll loop around one more time.
Mm-hmm.
They're still there. And that's like 30 minutes. People.
To be fair, Colt's a fast walker.
Colt is a little bit of a fast walker.
It's all thanks to my leggies.
He says he'll loop around. He'll like sprint around, and it'll be like 5 seconds. And he'd be like, "Fuck, where have they moved?"
Yeah, I mean, and it's one thing if they're actually actively buying stuff.
Yeah, they're always talking.
Yeah, like if they're just talking to either other people in line or not in line because there's no actual lines in the vendor hall. They're either talking to them or like talking to like the person actually running the table. And I'm sure the person running the table, especially if they have a ton of people, can't just keep answering your 1,000 questions. Here's my second problem with the vendor hall, and I may catch some flack for this. I think some of the artists they choose are too, I don't want to say samey, but like it seems like there is a very particular style that the people that select the artist for the vendor hall choose, and it doesn't really leave a lot of variety in terms of art.
Tanner,
yeah,
you are not going to catch flack for that because that is absolutely 100% true. We talked about this. So this is also one of the problems I had this year. So last year there was not quite a bit. There was a little bit more diversity in terms of styles with the artists, and all those artists who were there weren't here last year or weren't here this year.
Yeah.
And so, like Tanner said, it was just a lot of the same stuff. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is that whenever their process of vetting of who the artists that they want here and stuff, they usually target people whose aesthetic and style is much anime chibi focused. So
which is fine.
But you're gonna have 20 of the same guys. Like, come on.
Yeah, like it, like I get it. Like it's it's a mostly anime convention. I mean, people cosplay as a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different panels and such. But for the most part, it is an anime convention. So I get that some of the art, the artists they choose, they probably want to lean in more towards like anime style artists. Like I get that, but also like as a buyer, like I think it creates way too much competition in the vendor hall, because you do have 10, 15, 20 people that all do very similar styles. And I think it creates like unneeded competition in the vendor hall when you're already trying to like carve out your niche, but when your niche is also like 25 other people's niches in there, like it doesn't really help. I will also say this year, the artists to me didn't have as many little like knickknacks.
Yeah, it's a bunch of prints, which I understand. You got to get your money in somehow, and it's cheaper for them to produce.
Yeah, like I get like them bringing prints versus bringing like keychains or pins or buttons or things like that. Like I get it. But like even last year, like that's what I bought. I bought a couple of prints last year, but I bought mostly pins. Like I bought a really cool Evangelion pin that's in my bathroom right now for some reason. I don't know how it ended up in there, but it's in there. I bought some like cool Sonic stickers. I bought some buttons. I bought some One Piece keychains, like really cool stuff. And this year I just feel, I mean, we spent significant time in the vendor hall, and there just really wasn't any of that this year. So I don't know if it's more like just, I don't know if maybe Comic-Con as a group or kind of leaning towards more people that are just bringing prints, or like they're mostly like digital artists or things like that. I don't know if it's just like Colt. I mean, I understand it is cheaper to produce a print than a keychain, obviously, and there's usually a higher markup for a print than a keychain. There's only so much you can charge for a keychain, without it being ridiculous. Like I don't know, but like as a person, as a fan at Comic-Con, I would have liked to see a little bit. I don't know. I just like to see some different styles or something, especially because, like, obviously, like, it is mostly an anime convention, but they're obviously not shying away from bringing people that aren't even really known to, like, voice anime characters to do these signings and stuff. So, like, it's just confusing. Like, the Lego group that's there that make, like, the little, like, custom minifigs.
And there's only a super tiny anime section, which is really cool.
Yeah. Like, and like that booth is like always like fairly packed, and it's very affordable. They have no prints, they just make custom Lego minifigs, and it's awesome. I wish there was more things kind of in that realm than, oh, this artist is selling Naruto fan art, and then immediately right next to him, oh, this artist is also selling Naruto fan art. And then you go one over and it's like, oh, hey, check out my Naruto fan art. It's just, it all feels very samey.
I will also say there was maybe one or two artists that I was a little sus of, because it looked kind of AI with edited by the human. Like they use the AI as an assist tool and they draw over it.
There was definitely and like I hate to say that, but like there was some very generic looking prints at some of these tables.
I mean, yeah, and like that. I mean, and that's obviously like our taste, and our views and opinions are ours. But like, that's what it was. Like there was a lot of just the same stuff. I mean, like I said, I can't tell you how many booths I saw that all had anime characters or like pop stars, but like they were like chibi. They're like these cute little versions of them for keychains or stickers, and like and like I could tell, if you were to show me all these people, I would tell you, like, are these not the same people? Like, no, they're not. They're all different people, but they're all doing the same style. And then like, I mean, and there's a market for that, and but it's just
like obviously like several of these tables were making, and like I'm all for that. If you are creating your own like art, I'm all for making your money wherever your niche is. Just as somebody that wanted to buy more than I did, like I set myself a budget and I spent like $20 maybe on stuff, and like half of that was for the Lego minifix. Like I just wanted to see something more. Like if they would have had the exact same artists as last year, I probably would have spent over my budget because I spent a lot of money last year. And then also in the vendor hall, you have your people that sell anime figures, which again, I get at an anime convention. I don't know if half the vendor hall need to be booths that are selling aftermarket anime figures.
So the anime figure selection this year, I feel, was lacking in comparison to last year. It felt like they had way more, like, I get it, they're popular. My Hero, it was just a lot of My Hero figures. I'm like, and it's like season 1 My Hero stuff. It's none of the cool later parts.
Yeah, it's like, it would be one thing if like these people were importing a lot of product to sell, but it mainly seems like people are like going to Barnes, because like Barnes Noble, at least here now, like sells a pretty decent selection of anime figures. I have found, like if you're just out one day and you're like, oh cool, like one of my One Piece figures that I got from a Barnes Noble, like they have good stuff. Or like a Second Charles has a pretty good selection too. It seems like they're more so scouring these stores and then looking to see what they sell for on eBay and then charging that. Which to me, I mean, if you're gonna do that as an online store, like I get it. Like if you're running an eBay store and you want to do something like that, that works. But if you're buying something from a Barnes & Noble and then you're setting up your table and you're like, oh man, I got this for $40 2 years ago at Barnes & Noble. It's going for $90 on eBay right now. I want to charge $90 for it. And you're just like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah. The markups for figures this year was crazy. It was ridiculous. And then it was really stupid because I only bought, so like Tanner, I had a budget set aside, and if any of the artists are, I told myself I was going to try to find these figures, and if I couldn't find them, then I was going to make sure that most of my budget went to artists from Artist Alley.
Yeah.
Well, the artists I was looking for in Artist Alley weren't there. So I was like, okay, well, I guess the budget can go to figures or knickknacks or something. Well, the budget didn't go to that either because I only ended up buying one figure, Lego figures, and one keychain from one artist. I did get, and that's it.
Yeah,
like I was way under budget, and the figure that I did get was a really sick orange Piccolo, and the price for it was $34. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this because that's not bad.
No.
And then the guy is like, are you paying with cash or card? I was like, cash. And he's like, $37 after tax.
Okay, so that's my big thing I wanted to get into next. So
I was
go ahead.
No, I was so confused. I was like, what the fuck? But I was like, I'm locking in. So yeah. But go ahead, Tanner, go.
But so last year, none of us carried cash really, besides maybe Colt. Colt had some cash last year, but me and Wenzel were paying with cards last year. And I understand a lot of people were using like the Square chip meters or chip readers like on their phone. And I understand there is a fee that they pay. So they're like, hey, if you're paying with a card, it's like a 35-cent plus a 3% convenience fee. That's whatever. But last year, everybody was like, but if you pay with cash, it is that price. Well, this year, if you pay with cash, they were like, all right, so this figure's $30 with tax, $33. So they were charging like Alabama state tax, which is fucking crazy. It's already no, Alabama state tax isn't even 10%. Tuscaloosa County tax is 10%. But I believe, because this was in Birmingham, I believe Jefferson County is only 9%. And they were charging 10% tax for cash. And I'm like, so first of all, these people don't even have to show their taxes for the cash they get. I mean, if they're running these as legit businesses, and I mean, these anime reseller people typically don't have a business license. So they're charging tax, but they're not going to have to pay taxes on that. And it pissed me off so much. It kind of, I mean, it definitely did deter me from buying any figures, because I think every figure table besides maybe one was doing that. And to me, that is, I mean, you're literally price gouging your own shit. Like, and here's the thing. Wenzel, if they would have just put on that Piccolo figure $37 instead of $34 and charge you $37, nothing to think about. But the fact that the sticker price they had on there said written in Sharpie $34, and then you go and buy it with cash and like $37, what the fuck is that? Like come on.
Yeah. No, I was pretty pissed off about it too. But like I said, I locked in. I was like, I want this figure. I'll just get it now.
Yeah.
Good choice getting it then, because I only saw it at another table one time, and that's when I picked it up. Because that Piccolo figure, that was one of the examples of a rare figure to find at the convention. There was also a Beast Form Gohan doing a Kamehameha that I was hunting for. I only saw it once, but someone else was buying it, and I couldn't find it at all.
Yeah. It definitely seemed like DBZ, like Dragon Ball figures were like very few and far between. I'm sure with Toriyama's recent passing, that probably changes next year. I'm sure everybody is going to be doubling and tripling down on Dragon Ball figures, but I also bet they're going to be charging absurd prices.
Absurd amounts
for them.
There was a really cool Beelzebub figure from Sandland. I haven't read Sandland, but I was like, oh shit, that's sick. But then I looked at the price and I was like, no fucking way. No fucking way. And now after Toriyama's passing, that shit is going to be insane.
It's going to skyrocket. And don't get me wrong, it's going to go up on the secondary market anyways.
Yeah.
But like, if you're buying something in person, you shouldn't be expected to pay a full secondary price. Like, at least to me, because then you have to worry about like getting it home and all this shit. And again, this is a fairly large convention at this point. I would say it's like right below a MomoCon, at like just one tier below a MomoCon in terms of attendance. I don't think they've released an official attendance figure for this year's Comic-Con, but it's like, I mean, it's 5 digits worth of people.
It's a fuck ton of people.
Yeah,
this is the most people I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally like 10,000 plus people every day of the convention. So I don't know, that's what, and I don't want this to turn into like us griping about Comic-Con as a convention. I do have another gripe actually that I wasn't sure I was going to talk about on the podcast, but I'm going to talk about it. It's going to be fine. But so this year we actually applied to do a panel at Comic-Con.
Oh my god! Okay, no, you can totally go for it.
We were gonna do an AYCH panel. I understand, like, whatever. I don't feel like the panel application ask enough questions of like, hey, do you have like experience doing this? And they pretty much, you just need a catchy title and your panel's gonna get through. And there were some panels that I was a little peeved. I'm like, like this really got approved. And then like we were going to do a whole, I'm not going to get into what we were going to do because we may eventually do it as a podcast, or we may apply next year to Comic-Con or maybe another convention we decide to go to one day. But like, if you don't come up with a catchy enough title, your panel is not getting selected.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it boils down to. So like a lot of like, how many hot or not panels does a fucking convention really need? And don't get me wrong, we went to a Smash or Pass panel last year, which is kind of where my idea came from. And we talked about it on last year's podcast, but we went to a Shrek Smash or Pass panel that on its head was a super fun concept. And then the people running the panel were so ill-equipped to be in front of a microphone. Like I would say by the time the panel ended, I would say 70% of the people left.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, how fun would it be if we did? Well, I will say it was like a game show format that we were going to do, but we were going to give out prizes and, it was
anime themed.
Yeah, it was anime themed, and it was going to be us three and Patrick. We're going to be the people on the panel. And like, I think if your panel gets approved, I think maybe your convention pass, like you get your money back for your passes, which is fine. Like, I don't even really care about that because like I still think Comic-Con's fairly affordable if you're going all 3 days. Like, it's like 60
if you really hit the early bird price too.
Yeah, like I think because Wenzel, I think you paid what, $55 for your 3-day pass.
Yep.
And I think Colt and I paid $65 for a 3-day pass.
Yeah, it's if you go to Comic-Con or any convention really, always buy the tickets online. Never do at door. That's crazy.
Yeah, because at the door, the Saturday pass was $55, which is insane.
Just like, for that day.
Yeah, just for Saturday. So I feel like it's always cheaper to get through, even though we only do 2 days. I mean, we save like $30 just buying the 3-day pass. I'm a little peeved that AR panel didn't get approved, but like I'm not going to read out specific panels that did get approved, but you had some panels that got approved. I'm like really? Like, do we really need a One Piece 101 panel again? Like, I think people understand the premise of fucking One Piece at this point. Like, it's been going for 25 fucking years. People know what One Piece is, but like, now, you just really need a catchy panel title to get approved.
Because like I'm thinking about some of those panels because I see them and I'm like, oh, these might be fun to go to. But then I think about it, I'm like how the hell are you going to format this? Especially if it's a 101 panel. I'm like, are you just gonna sit there and talk about like the story and lore? Like
I mean that's what a panel usually is.
That's what these 101 panels are. It's like, so you want to get into One Piece?
And I haven't been to them, so I don't know how they do them, but it just seems like it's very pandering, and I don't know if and like Tanner said too, like the Shrek one was like it was so like they were just not. I'm sorry, but they were just not good.
Yeah, and like it was like how many people were on the panel? 4 people together, maybe.
It was 4.
It seemed like they had never met each other or even talked to each other ever, which was already like weird, but like they just weren't engaging enough. And I'm not saying I'm sitting here, I'm not saying like we would have been better, but like at least we know what to do in front of a microphone. Like some of these people act like they have never even talked in front of a mic, so they'll have the mic like touching their lips like this, so they just sound like this, and like the sound just doesn't like. It's so many frustrating things. And
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just it kind of like really perturbed me. I'm like, man, like I feel like if the panel application actually asks like, oh, do you have any background of doing anything like this? And like this podcast, for instance, is about to turn 7 years old. And for the most part, we have been a weekly podcast for nearly 7 years. And I just feel like maybe as well as, have been attending Comic-Cons for years. Like Colt and I went to like Colt, the 4th one they ever did? It
was like 4 and 5 or something like that.
Yeah, like over 10 years ago. I just feel like if maybe they changed the panel application a little bit and like let for some different, because some of the rooms are extremely small. Like I was like, okay, even if we get the smallest room that can seat maybe, I don't know, 75 people, I'm like, that will be well good enough for. In fact, that's what I would prefer if we were in a small room.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like some of these, I don't know. Like some of these panels just seem like they are going for the broadest brush possible, and they're like, we're gonna do Disney villain smash or pass. Like, how many fucking times can you? Like, okay, Gaston's hot, smash, obviously. Like why is that a continuous panel I see at these things?
Yeah, it's smash or pass, or it's 101 panels, and there's some. I will say though, we actually all the panels that we went to this year were all good.
Oh yeah.
I to a smash or pass panel on accident.
I was gonna say we went. So
yeah, we did.
there was such a funny bit. So I can't remember what panel we were originally trying to go to, but we ended up going into this panel that was for a smash or pass for this series that we don't know.
It wasn't even a series. It was a whole genre. It was like
is it Boys Love?
It was like boy love.
No,
Chinese animation.
It was like a bunch of, well, you say that, but then there was also live action representations of these characters.
Yes, I'm going to try to find the name of it.
And they're Chinese, and it was mostly men. There were some women, and then there was objects as well. It was so funny because we get in here, and me and Tanner recognize immediately. We talk to each other, and we're like, "Oh fuck, we're in the wrong."
I just saw the people that were walking in there. I'm like, we're definitely in the wrong panel.
And
100%.
The original.
I don't remember.
I'm trying to pull up the panel schedule for Friday because it was on Friday.
And the thing is too is the panel room that it was at, it was completely opposite from where we were at, which was really funny. But yeah, we get in there, and the entire time, and Colt doesn't know. And it wasn't until like the panel, like right as it starts or right before it starts, we tell Colt like we're in the wrong panel. And Colt's like, what? So it was very funny. And we stayed, and it was actually a good time. I will say though, oh, go ahead.
No, you.
Sorry. I'll go ahead. So I will say though, they had a Kahoot implemented into it, so it was kind of fun, that little game aspect. But it was another instance of the people here knew each other, at least that's good. They had some chemistry. But the thing is I don't know what it is, but unless you're unless you've had experience, these people did not have experience on the mic. We keep encountering people with no experience on the mic. It is crazy.
Yeah.
It was pissing me off so much. I'm like, Jesus Christ, speak into the fucking mic.
Yeah, so we were originally trying to go to a bad fan fiction panel.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, that would be funny. It was a late night 18+ panel, and we ended up at the Don May Smasher Pass.
Yeah,
what Don May is a Chinese genre of literature and other fictional media that features romantic relationships between male characters. And I will say, Don May actually also means indulging beauty. Fun fact. I just found that out Googling it. I will say, like Wenzel said, these people had chemistry with each other. These people obviously knew each other, and they were actually engaging with the audience a little bit, and they were funny. Like they were able to hold, like, we stayed the whole panel, but like they were able to engage, but there was 5 of them up on stage, and at some points they would start joking with themselves, but at the table. So like they wouldn't be speaking into the mic. Like it'd be like if we were doing a podcast and then Colt and I just started having an off mic conversation, but you couldn't capture it. Like that's what it was. Like I said, I will say this was a very fun panel, the Don May Smasher Pass. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, again, how many Smasher Pass panels do we really need at one convention? Like, I don't know. I wish it was able. I don't know. I wish they were able to like look, I guess, more. And I'm sure they get hundreds of panel applicants submitting panels. Like, I'm sure. And I'm not saying we, under any circumstance, deserve to be in it. But I'm just like, would it kill you to like maybe just try to make it a little different?
Yeah,
like
it's the same thing with their artists. Like,
like they need, it's too samey.
Yeah, really. Like they need to vet and diversify their artists and their vendor hall in general, and they need to do the same thing for the panels.
Yes,
like I don't know like what's going on with what they're doing with the requirements here, because it just seems like it's just like if you fit these certain bills, but it doesn't matter anything else as long as you're just anime focused. Like that's it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and like or catchy title.
Yeah, and like I submitted our panel to be in the, I guess, in the pool of panels, and like they just really don't ask that much information. They ask like, okay, what's the title of your panel? And you go, I made the title of our panel, and it's like in like 3 sentences describe what your panel is. I don't feel like 3 sentences is a lot to to do that, but also like I get that with these Smasher Pass panels, like take Don May Smasher Pass for instance, we're going to ask people in the audience if they would rather smash or pass these characters from this specific genre of animation,
and we'll use Kahoot.
Yeah, and we use Kahoot. 1 sentence, super catchy. So maybe like that's part of the problem, but also like how many, I don't know. I completely agree with Wenzel, and I'm sorry that this podcast has turned into this. But it was just kind of frustrating to be like, man, really? Like we didn't get like I don't know. Like, I thought what we were going to do would have been a lot of fun. I think if we could have got people in the room, they would have really enjoyed it. But it's just like, you know, I guess, you know, maybe next year we should put like
Smasher Pass Game Show Edition.
Smasher Pass Game Show Edition. And
and we just say, we're not doing that. We're Pirates of the Caribbean. We're changing it up.
Yeah, or just fucking, I don't know, make your panel name, hey, do you want $1,000 or something? Like,
we will give you all money if you come to this panel.
Yeah,
like, hey, not really.
Yeah. But the next year, the panels are nothing but completely elaborate, complex, like different panels, no Smasher Pass, and we don't get in. And we ask, like, they're like, yeah, we have too many Smasher Pass panels, so we just don't want to have that anymore.
Yeah. They listened to this podcast and they're like, well, we heard a podcast that was bitching and moaning about too many Smasher Pass. So we went with no Smasher Pass this year. And I you know, I get it, especially with those Smasher Pass panels being 18 plus. Comic-Con skews younger. I'd say most of the people attending Comic-Con are between the ages of 15 and 30, probably.
Yeah.
Like it's a fairly young convention. So like I get having those like, you know, fun, like late night panels like that, especially like if you're 17 one year and turn 8, because they check IDs at these. I felt ridiculous.
Sometimes.
I will say there was one that didn't. But I will say it just seemed really we didn't make ours like we were actually like purposely not going to cuss or anything. Like we made ours like all ages and everything, and it's just like, oh, you don't get in, but you know. How about 7 Smasher Pass panels on Friday night? And it's just like, really?
And sorry again. We don't want to make it seem like, oh, we didn't get in, so that's why we're gonna fuck it.
Because we had a great time. We had a great time at Comic-Con.
Yeah, like literally, we were talking about like, oh shit, can't wait for next year.
Yeah, we're talking about staying an extra day, like getting there a day early next year.
We have so many plans for next year about what we want to do. It's insane. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Because it's still a fun time. So I guess we could talk about the positive, I guess. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get to all the awesome things we did, because we did a lot of great things.
We did a lot. So I want to give a shout out to, well, should we talk about the wrestling show first?
Yeah, okay, yes. Yeah, one more bad thing.
My bad.
So last year this is a hyper local promotion. Y'all know me. I co-run a wrestling website, Violent People. I would consider myself pretty hardcore in the bubble. And last year and this year it's a very hyper regional independent promotion. It's called New Era Wrestling. Last year, the show we went to was awesome. It was so much fun. Super high energy, a lot of people in the crowd for both shows. They usually do a 1-hour show on Friday and then a 2-hour show on Saturday. We usually go to the 1-hour show on Friday. Last year, that 1-hour show on Friday was incredible. I actually had like a couple of names that I had. Adam Priest wrestled at it, who for my money worth is probably the best independent wrestler in America right now. Had Action Mike Jackson, who's always a hoot. And this year, they did have Action Mike Jackson, which was a highlight of this promotion, but then it just seemed like it was a lot of people that weren't even necessarily trained. I want to get y'all's perspective, because I guess I can come across as cynical as somebody that is like the wrestling fan of the group, but they had so many audio issues, which was super fucking weird considering they had been set up.
It was hilarious.
It was so funny.
Like the audio issues they were having were like actually laughable. It was like somebody kept playing like the Windows, like it was like
sticky keys.
They kept sticky keysing the soundboard, which literally at an independent show, the soundboard is literally like, okay, you have like 7 MP3 files, play them in order. And like, they just couldn't figure it out. And the person that lady,
the way she talked into the mic
was so aggravating.
So like, this is what I was talking about with nobody knows how to do mic work here.
Yeah.
Like she was
who's excited for the party.
It was literally like they were talking into the microphone like this the whole time. Like at one point, I think the mic was literally in her fucking mouth. Cause I'm like, I lean over to Colt and Wenzel. I'm like, and we had good seats. Like there's not a bad seat in the house for like these conventions. If you've ever been to convention where they do have wrestling, like it's not like that. And it's so weird because they did a convention in Huntsville last fall where they teamed with New South, which is a more prominent indie, even though they're based in Alabama. Like they have like distribution. People have heard of New South. New South has been going for a long time. And I'm like, oh, they're just going to bring New South, an hour south, and it's going to be a great show. And they didn't. And it was like the wrestling this year was weird. There was a big botch in one of the matches where they were trying to do like an Eddie Guerrero foot out of the boot spot and
licking and stuff like that.
They literally could not pull the guy's foot out of the boot when the guy had him in an ankle. They were literally trying to do Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania.
They were pulling on that boot for 30 seconds.
It was way longer than 30 seconds. It was like 2 minutes of the match. Like this guy was in an ankle lock after having his leg worked over the whole match. And I mean, the dude, you could tell, was active. Like at one point he breaks the ankle lock and just tries to grab his boot and is like actively yanking his leg. And you're just like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. And I don't want to disparage any of the wrestlers. Like they all worked hard. I'll give them that. But it's just like, it didn't click. And with the audio issues and the ring announcer not knowing how to speak into a mic. And I will say, I have no idea how the Saturday show went. They could have did a complete 180 on the Saturday show and it'd be a great show like the two shows were last year. But the Friday show was just like a big stinking, it probably the worst hour of wrestling I've ever seen live.
Yeah. It's probably it's the worst wrestling show I've ever seen.
Wenzel and I have been to very few. We'll keep that in mind.
But we've seen them. We've watched them. This was the worst.
Yeah. To be fair, the ones we've gone to have been pretty fucking crazy. Like SEI, SET, and then they got the deathmatch. The deathmatch was fucking awesome.
Yeah. And obviously this show, you can't even do death matches in Alabama. This show was not going to be that. I've been to hyper regional indie promotions in Alabama, and the shows have been thousands of times better than what this show was. And again, I can, audio issues, whatever. Like if it's like a speaker's not working, that's one thing. But it was like the person running the sound just had no idea how to click on an MP3 to play.
I was going to say, if the sound was better and the person, the announcer knew how to talk to the mic, probably would have been a lot better show.
Yeah, I couldn't understand what anyone was saying when they were on the mic.
Yeah, it was like actively bad. And then
at some point, a guy talked into the mic, but the mic was fucking off.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like at one point, like a guy that actually knew how to hold a microphone went to speak into the microphone, and then the mic was off. And then he just starts yelling in this giant convention hall where there's already music playing in the fucking background, and he's like yelling. He's like, "Are y'all here to see the show tonight?" And it's like, what are we doing? And like this promotion runs every month, and I'm just like, are you not bringing in your regulars? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck was up. It was weird. Like
I was gonna say there was like two teams from last year that were here again this year. Like the opening guys, or one of them at least, was here last year. He was All Might last year, and this year he was Ken.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, which is fun too. I appreciate. Oh, you're at an anime convention. Wear different gear than you usually do. Wear a cosplay. It was weird though. The guy cosplaying as Ken at one point took his top off to do like a hot tag, and then put it back on to take it off again.
It was like I watched a movie where there was clearly a costume change, but then the scene was like done where they didn't do the costume change, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it was so fucking weird, and
I was tripping.
Yeah, and it was so weird because last year, to my knowledge, those shows are not available anywhere, and like the Friday show last year was such a good time.
It was so fun.
And then this show, they tell us like 5 minutes before the show, the lady gets on the mic and is like, by the way, guys, we're going to be filming this for YouTube. So show some high energy. And it's just like, well, give
This
us
is gonna be fun to edit.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, how the fuck are they gonna edit this out?
I think they didn't get any audio because the crowd was rarely cheering.
Yeah.
And there was music playing, like Tanner was saying.
Yeah.
And the fucking mic, it just sucked. It wasn't a great match.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a great show. Like usually I tend to try to find the positives in wrestling. Like I'm a notoriously pretty easy star rater when it comes to wrestling, but I'm like, oh my God, like there was no positive I could take away from this wrestling show this year that really blew me away. And like next year, we'll probably go to the Friday show again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's tradition.
It's tradition. It's usually at a really good time slot. They do like 7 to 8 on Friday. So it's right before like the late night stuff starts. It's usually right after we eat dinner. So like it works. Like the time slot really works for us. But it's just like, man, like I wish there was, maybe they'll recapture the magic of last year, next year. But I'm like, and again, I have literally zero idea how the Saturday show went. They could have fixed everything. It could have been a great show. I have no idea. But it was just like, man, this is like some doo-doo.
yeah, it was bad. But who knows? The next year might be better.
Yeah, but now we should actually talk about the things we did enjoy. Because again, we spent an hour talking about the bad to say we had a great time. I want to start. So this year they had a group there called the Charlotte Gamers Network, GAYMER. Like an LGBTQ group, I assume out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Down doing, all their proceeds from the convention were going towards like a charity initiative that they do up in North Carolina. Really, really cool stuff. And they had a drag show on Friday night. Let me say, the drag show was incredible. It was unlike it was unlike any drag show I had ever been to, where usually the drag shows I have went to, usually you have a roster of like 6 or 7 like drag queens, like males or people that identify as male, doing drag stuff. And this year they had a lot of women doing drag.
Drag kings.
And some of them were non-binary.
Yes. Which I had never been to a show like that, but let me say, the drag show was fucking incredible. So we were like,
we saw some ass shaking like crazy,
insane.
Yeah, the host, and I can't remember their name. They were fucking incredible. Like one of the best like MCs for a drag show I've ever, probably the best MC I've ever heard for a drag show. Absolutely incredible. And they had local people, so it was like the Charlotte Gamers Network. But they had a lot of people from like South Alabama. I think maybe they had one person there from Carolina with them. Yeah. But it was like a lot of local people, which I thought was really cool.
They had some people from Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn. I knew it was something South. yeah, boo Auburn. But that drag show was a ton of fucking fun. Like at first it was weird because they had the drag show in like the big room, like where they usually do like their concerts, because Comic-Con is really good about getting like actually pretty high profile bands and stuff from Japan to come do like live shows. And that was, what they did this year too. But they had it there. So at first, like we're all sitting like 100 feet from the stage, and and I'm like, man, this is like a weird setup for the drag show. And then like 5 minutes before the drag show starts, the MC, or actually I guess the owner of the Charlotte Gamers Network, who's again name I can't remember, but gets on the mic. Is like, hey, I don't know if this is like y'all's if this is your first time at a drag show, like welcome, like super inclusive, all that. They were like, but actually, if y'all feel comfortable, come up to the stage and essentially create like a pit like right by the stage, which was really fucking cool. And I'm glad they did that, and I'm glad we went up, because I don't think we would have had as good of a time just watching it from like 100 feet back, like the 4th row of like the seating. So that was really cool. But the drag show was absolutely incredible. Great performances, great everything. I have no notes for the drag show. It was one of the most fun drag shows I've ever been to. And I was 100% sober, which was definitely a first for me at a drag show.
Yeah, I was so sober.
But it was such a good time, and the Charlotte Gamers Network for me was a highlight, and I know y'all are going to talk about them a little bit later. But I definitely their group, what they did over the weekend was like a highlight for me.
While we're here, we could go ahead and talk about the.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all go ahead and talk about them.
But before that though, I was gonna say one of them was dressed like was basically like a demon. Like they painted themselves red and had horns and stuff, and they went insane. I was literally like, whoa!
Yeah, at first I was like, oh my god, like they're like stripping. Holy fuck! It was
awesome.
Yeah.
But they were like dancing, and the dances they were going like I was like, how. Oh my god, it was crazy.
like very very talented, and the MC, it was so cool because the MC was actually performing, which also I've never seen at a drag show, where the MC's like literally they were on the mic like, hold on y'all, I'm doing a costume change, and they come out in like a fucking blue ball gown, high heels, and they just fucking kill it, like dropping it. And I'm like, they're on like fucking stilettos. And I'm like, God damn, how are you doing that in a ball gown for 4 minutes? And then got back on the mic and proceeded to MC like more. I'm like, I would be dead.
I would be so out of breath.
There's nothing sexier than getting on a mic and just be like, oh my God. Okay, because that's what I would have been doing. I'm like, how, like, you're up there lip syncing and you're dancing, and I will say the people, like, we were towards the front of the pit, just on one of the sides, but all the people up on the front knew, I guess, drag etiquette, and they were like throwing wands, and like the queens were like dipping and like grabbing their wands and like stuffing them, and it was great. But it was just like it was a really fun energy to the drag show that was really cool. At one point, there's a guy in the crowd has a bottle of fucking Pinnacle, and like one of the queens, like during their set, grabs it and like takes a swig of it, and then like goes backstage. And by the time the guy got the bottle back, it was like nearly empty. So it was like that was a fun bit. But yeah, I have no notes about it. It was maybe my highlight of the whole weekend. Like, it was such a fun show, such high energy. It was another late night panel, I guess. It went from like 10 to 11 or maybe 11 to midnight.
Yeah, I think it was midnight. 11 to midnight. Yeah,
it was 11 to midnight, but it was cool. And I will say that's another good thing that Comic-Con has done. They have started making more late night panels, which is good, because used to with Comic-Con, like after 9 o'clock, if you weren't going to a concert, you were pretty much done for the day. So I will say they have actually started like implementing their late night slots better. Like Friday used to end at like 8 o'clock, and now Friday goes to like 1 a.m.
I do like the energy late at night because there's not as many people, and it's open.
Not as many people, usually less little kids. So it's like, I will say after like 9 p.m., the con turns into like an 18 plus convention, but it's still like people between the ages of like 18 and 30 at 35 maybe. But it was like such a fun time, and like Colt said, the energy for the late night panels are like, even the Don May Smash or Pass, I think that's what made it so fun, was that it was like a late night panel, 18 plus, and like everybody in there was like the right amount of rowdy. I guess where it made it fun. Like, it's not like we were sitting during the Smash or Pass panel and being like, God, like all these fucking people are screaming and it's annoying, like holy fuck. But yeah, the drag show was, I hope they come every year. I hope they bring the Charlotte Gamers Network again next year. I hope they get to expand the drag show, get to have more performers, because it was such a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that was the, like, if they did anything right, they did that right. And I really hope they're back next year, because it was too much fun. Because there was another panel that they had,
which I really enjoyed. I really want Drag Bingo to be back, but I want them to, like, if someone fucks up the rules, they kill them. I'm just kidding.
Okay,
they get them out.
So it was really funny. So me and Colt went to this. Tanner was going to join us, but Tanner was just not feeling it. So Tanner hung back.
So
No, not feeling the panel. Like Tanner was like not feeling good. Is what I'm saying.
like my leg got fucked up after a car crash. I was like, I'm not going to walk all the way back. And it was also late at night. We had just eaten the Chinese food. I'm like, I think I'm just going to chill out for the rest of the time. Like my leg was swollen. I'm like, oh, fuck that. But Colt and Wenzel went. I do want to hear about y'all at the drag bingo, because y'all actually went to 2 panels without me too. But
yeah, we'll talk about that. But this Charlotte Gamers Network, it was interesting too, because it wasn't an 18+ event. The drag show was. This wasn't. So that was interesting.
I feel like it was, but they forgot the ID.
No, it wasn't. If you go back and look at the panel schedule, it doesn't show 18+ on it.
Yeah, what wasn't listed as 18+, which is weird because, and again, I'll let y'all get into it. There was also drag performances at this, and like, it was weird. I don't get why one was and one wasn't.
Yeah, no, I will say the performances here, they were incredible, but they weren't nearly as crazy as what was happening at the one we went to. I guess if you would say anything that was anything egregious was the language that was used, but it was funny, so it doesn't matter. No, so we get in here and oh my god, there were so many people, and there was only 2 drag performers. They both had 2 sets, so it was 4 total, and we were just, we got our bingo cards and we were playing, and it was fun. It was cool because they wanted to do 4 rounds, and each round, they're going to change up the rules. So first round, it was like standard bingo, just get a regular 5 across, and the first person that gets a bingo doesn't get it, right?
What?
No. Well, there was somebody who thought they got a bingo but didn't, or was that in the second round?
It happened twice. He said, "Fuck it, you bingoed."
That was the second round. Okay, never mind. Sorry. So no, somebody got a bingo the first round. Fine. Then the first performance that we get was somebody that was at the drag performance last night. They were they did a Mimikyu drag show, and then Princess
Leon?
Peach?
No, yeah, Princess Peach.
Yeah. Don't spoil. Really good, really fun. But then there was another person who I think their name was Jax. And
yes, with an X or KZ.
Yeah, KS. Yeah. Their 2 performances were insane. You're talking about movement and dancing,
backflips and flipping off stage.
So many backflips. It was insane.
This was in one of the proper like Q&A rooms. Like this wasn't even on like the main like performance stage they were on Friday night. This was in like think of a panel room at a convention, and that's where this was.
Yeah, no, this could have seated hundreds of people, but they were able to get everybody to make sure to be close to the front. So I'm gonna say there was probably 100 people in there. There was a lot,
at least.
But yeah, this person was going crazy. Their first set was like a bit between being like an astronaut and then Mortal Kombat. It went so hard. And then their second set was so fucking funny, but it went so hard too. They literally come out doing a bit of being Leon from Resident Evil 4. Like they had the hair, the jacket, the pretending to be like a video game character, like doing like the glitching, not glitched out, but kind of like this, the
tank controls Leon.
Yeah. The controls, like it was so cool. It was so funny. They were so, oh my god, they were legitimately great. But no, the second round though, they were like, okay, new rule for this round. You have to get an X, right? So you have to get a cross, 5 across, the diagonal, 5 across, right? So 10 total letter numbers, and well, that they didn't say that though. They just said an X diagonal across the board. And me and Colt were like, "Oh, okay, that's from one corner of the card like both sides, so 10 total. First person gets up there and is like, I got it, and the guy's like, that's not an X. That's not what we. That's it's not what we meant. So it's like we got to do it again, until somebody gets it. So second person gets up there, does the same fucking thing. and then it's like I want to say like maybe 70% of the crowd was like we didn't know what you meant, and it's just like, really?
They thought the 3x3 was what they wanted.
Yeah, they thought it was just, oh my god, it was so fucking stupid.
Also, should mention that this panel only had an hour, and I believe it was because at this point this is Saturday night. I believe the panel was running 15 minutes late because of like timing throughout the day. So like the panel I think was supposed to go from 9:30 to 10:30, and it didn't start till like 9:45. But I think they had a hard out at 10:30.
Yeah, there was a weird timing issue there, and that's because of the panel beforehand that we'll talk about. One of the great panels, by the way, one of the great panels we've been to. Yeah. So sorry, hold on, let me think about that. It's not 10 total. It's like what? So
yeah, like, it's BINGO from top corner to bottom corner, and then ONGIB top corner to bottom corner. But you have a free space in the middle, so you have to get 9. Really?
9. Yeah. So yeah, and it was just like the guy was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have explained that better." Blah 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 blah. So we'll give the 2.
You, man, it was not on you.
I was like, dude, that is not on you. Literally, there's people around us that were just like, we thought he meant like. We thought he meant what we thought he meant was 9.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I'm just gonna give the two people
who got it wrong.
Who got it wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
Gave them for free. So we ended up not doing, because it went on for so long, people not understanding. And then also too, they called out a letter number that nobody needed because it was in the free space area directly in the middle. It was N. Nobody needed it. So, but anyway, yeah, so so we couldn't go 4 rounds. It was just like, literally, it was like Jax would have to do both of the sets, not back to back, but basically like almost barely any time to breathe.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. It was still so cool. It was so fun. I want to do it again, but like Colt said, if people don't understand the rules, they can just get kicked out.
Yeah, just to be like, I know you're too stupid to understand bingo. Like, leave. Which I will say, trying to do 4 rounds of bingo in an hour already seems like a lot. But then to say, hey, we're going to do 4 rounds of bingo in 45 minutes. Also, there's going to be 4 drag performances in 45 minutes is like impossible.
No, I think it worked though. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's why they pivoted to try to do like, okay, we're going to do like the X instead of a traditional bingo. They're like, obviously we're not going to be able to do 4 rounds and do all these drag performances in 45 minutes. And so like, I appreciate, again, I wasn't there, but I appreciate them obviously like thinking on their feet with this, but it was like it sounds like there was just some dumb people in the room that didn't understand. And I do kind of hate that they got rewarded for being stupid. They're like, hey, I made an X in the corner. Like, okay, that's not a fucking, so you had BIN like diagonal, and then like you had like essentially a 4-letter X like that. I kind of hate that they got, because there was prizes involved. We should mention.
We don't know what they are, so it could have been $1 billion or an Arby's gift card.
Hey, I would have been happy with either.
Yeah.
An Arby's gift card. Fuck. Maybe if we were giving out Arby's gift cards, our panel would have got approved. But I say all that to say, like, I really hope the Charlotte Gamers Network or somebody like that is at the shows, is at the convention next year, and they do like another drag bingo and another drag show, because those were definitely sounded like highlight. I mean, the drag show was a highlight for me, but Colt and Wenzel came back from the drag bingo and they had a great time.
Yeah, and I will say, Tanner, you were spot on with what the people did, because the first person got an X in the corner.
Yeah.
The second person got the X in the middle, but they didn't go all the way down, so they didn't get like the 4 corners of the square.
Yeah.
They literally just got in the middle.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's just like, and what rule of bingo do you think you don't need a B anywhere? Like that's ing. If you're not doing the B and the O, that's ing. You don't have bingo. You have ing.
And the thing is too, is like the person said like one across, like diagonal, like both across. So it's just like, I don't.
And again, the game is fucking bingo. If you have if you don't have any numbers called in, like under the B column, that's not bingo. it seems like it definitely feels like just some dumb people.
Like it felt like we were in the side of the room that fully understood. The middle was like a mix, and the all the way to the left was the people that were completely wrong.
Yeah. No, that's literally how it was. It was just our corner of the room was just like, what the fuck are these people doing? Because it's just like bingo. You have to spell bingo.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like they went into this thinking like, oh, I don't have to spell bingo. Like, oh my god, they're so fucking stupid.
Yeah, it would have been one thing if like the MC of the event, who I assume was like the owner of the Charlotte Gamers Network,
same person. Yeah.
It would be one thing. He was like, hey, you don't. It's as long as you have, like a 5, like if you have the middle space and then you get like, diagonal. If you have 5, you form any sort of X using the middle. That's one thing. But the fact they said you have to have a bingo across and then just do it again. So essentially you have to have 2 bingos in the shape of an X. Then you're golden. And like it seems like obviously you have to have a full fucking bingo to have bingo. Like that. Like I'm thinking about it in my mind as somebody that has played bingo. And or if you're a fucking human being and know how letters work, like it blows my mind. They're like, oh, here. And then they get rewarded for it, which I
knowing
understand.
That room, though, they would probably get like the non-diagonal X and be like, yeah, that's it. I win.
because like the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, do these people not know the basic premise of bingo is that you have to spell bingo?
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe if the MCs were like, hey, you have to have 2 bingos to win this time, and like they probably should have foregone the X, because that is, again, kind of hard to get. And again, that is eliminating a whole letter because you do not need the letter N at all for 2 X's.
Yeah.
Or for an X. They should have just said, hey, you have to have 2 bingos to win this round. I think it would have been a lot smoother. And at least everybody would have understood, hey, I need 2 bingos anywhere on the board. Like, I think that would have probably made it easier. But again, like I don't put that on the MC because it definitely feels like they were working with the time constraint and also with the basic assumption that people knew how fucking bingo worked. But yeah.
No, they literally said that they're coming up with stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
So we'll get into the time constraint right now. So the panel we watched before this is also, again, when Tanner couldn't come to it, but the panel that we saw before this, we saw it last year. It wasn't as late as last year. It was actually in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It was like at 3 p.m. last year.
But what was cool about this was that it wasn't structured the same way. So it was still an hour, but it was a panel it was basically an AMV contest. There were different genres, and we'd watch people's AMVs done. Of course, they're like, they can be compilations of a specific anime or multiple different animes, but it's done over like a song, and those are very popular. Obviously, if you're in the anime community, and there's different genres, and then we have to vote on a Google Doc or Google form, which one is the best one from this form, and then at the very end, it was announced who the winners were. Last year, they had to wait for the end of the convention, but this time,
the closing ceremonies, which is how they've always have done it. Like every, like even the first year we went, they've always announced the AMV contest winners at the closing ceremonies.
Yeah, but
I did like how they did it this year. It's just, I wish they had enough time.
Yeah, they really need to give the AMV contest an 1.5 hour slot.
Yes, because the panel, now I will say the panel before the AMV contest also, I want to say, went over.
Yeah,
so it seems like it happened very early on Saturday, because even we'll get to it in a minute, but we went to the Kson Q&A panel They flew in Kason from Japan, and they had 2 Q&A panels, one Friday, one Saturday. And that was early in the day Saturday. It was like 1 or 2 p.m. Kason had that Q&A panel, and it was already running late because a panel before it had went long. So it seemed like an issue that started pretty much Saturday morning with the panels.
Yeah.
And they just no panel at like, if you're expecting an hour, you should get your hour. Like I'm not that, that's on the convention people for not, being able to get their shit together. That you should get your hour especially somebody they're flying in from fucking Japan, you should get your fucking hour to do your Q&A or, whatever kind of panel you're doing. So it definitely seemed like it started early Saturday and they just could never make up the lost time until the end of the day where they're like, hey, we have a hard out at 10:30.
Yeah. It was crazy. But yeah, and because they even said that there was actually more AMVs in this, but they had to cut them.
Yeah.
For this. And so and that's what we did, and we got to watch each one, and then we got to watch them again. And the thing is too is that there was a 30-minute break between this panel and the Charlotte Gamer Network's Drag Bingo. So it's like if it went a little over, that would have been all right. But like there was this weird thing where it was like they were like, this was supposed to end like 15 minutes ago. What's going on? You need, a person went up to the person hosting the AMV contest, was literally did the sign of, you have to wrap this up. So it was kind of like, oh, okay. But no, the AMV contest was so sick. There was a lot of good ones. There was freaking, oh gosh, there was a Chainsaw Man that was so sick that they did a really good editing of like a bunch of the endings together into it to get this really cool like sequence of imagery that was, and I can't remember the song that was used, but it went so hard. It was so crazy.
And they included like super obscure animes that I've never seen before, which I was really happy about. And it was really well done. There was like a ballerina one that was like from the early 2000s. Really well done.
It was this really weird, like ballerina, like Swan Lake anime that also had some weird, like magical elements to it. I can't. It was crazy. I'm trying to think. I want to say there was one with Imagine Dragons.
Yes, there was.
There was an Imagine Dragons.
This is it. The Apocalypse. That one.
Oh, that's like radioactive?
Yeah. I don't think it didn't have radioactive.
What was it? Thunder?
Yes. It was it was Thunder. I think it was. Or it was
a much worse Imagine Dragons song.
It was either Believer or Thunder. I remember both of us running.
Terrible song.
Oh, there was one that had a Hollywood Undead song that was actually really good.
Yeah, they did it for Wenzel. They know how much he loves Hollywood Undead.
Jesus Christ, no. And then there was actually a Hell of a Boss one that had Light 'Em Up by Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, it actually made me really want to watch the show. It
had a bunch of the action scenes from Hell of a Boss, which are actually very good, very well animated. Yeah, no, there was a ton of good AMVs.
The AMV contest is always a really fucking good time. I hate that I missed that one.
Yeah, it was so fun. I'm trying to think. I don't think any of the ones I voted for won, but that's fine because the ones that did win were really good as well. I couldn't tell you just because the Google form is like it's gone. It's way past, so I couldn't tell you what they exactly were. But I'm sure there's somewhere the person who hosted it has like some kind of social link to it or something. But yeah, it was really sick.
Yeah,
definitely got to be a tradition to go to that too because it's just that good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This was the first Comic-Con I've ever been to where I missed the AMV panel, so I was kind of bummed about that. Also, we mentioned about the time constraints and everything like people ran into. Another thing I want to bring to this convention, which again I put on the organizers, I don't put on anybody doing the panels. There has to be a proper fucking queuing system to get into some of these panels.
No one knows how to make a line.
No one knows how to fucking line up.
Instruct a crowd.
It was literally the same last year. It was so funny.
Yeah, which is so weird because Colt, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear to God, the first Comic-Con we ever went to, which was me, you, Cody, and JoJo, they had like tape on the floor of like, this is where you line up for the panels.
And they also had the those like little bars with the leather straps that reach out to each other.
Yeah.
Like you see in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
They had that.
And for the past 2 years, they have not had that, which blows my mind because there was and I get that, you know, it takes up space, but also if you're just trying to contain lines, like it seems like obviously like a no fucking brainer. So like one of the panels, we going back to the Caisson panel, there was obviously a ton of people trying to get into that. And then immediately after the Caisson panel was, I believe, the Has Been Hotel Q&A.
Yes.
Which was the first time any of the voice actors had, like, it's the first Has Been Hotel Q&A ever, which I have no, I mean, I know the show has been watched by a bunch of people. Like, I have no reference of the show, but like, obviously I was like, oh, that's like a big get for them. And they didn't announce any of the voice. It seemed like a very last minute thing because I don't think they had announced any of the voice actors from Has Been Hotel were coming until like
every single one of them. Like,
yeah, it was a lot
in advance.
Yeah. Like they didn't announce till like a week. They were like, hey, we're doing the Has Been Hotel, the first ever Has Been Hotel Q&A panel. Like I actually sat in on it because at one point they say, hey, if you're not in line, you aren't getting in this panel because there's too many people. Which I'm like, man, that seems, I was like, that seems insane because the panel room they were in could probably seat like 1,500, 2,000 people probably. Like it was a lot. And they tell them like, hey, you're not getting in. And then they let that whole line in, and then it's like 70% full. And they're like, and so then they actually have people go and like, hey, if you want in the Has Been Hotel panel, we have seats available downstairs. Like, go, 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 go. And I'm like, that's a really fucking dangerous way to do that.
Yeah.
But like they like the people on the Has Been Hotel panel, one of them were like streaming it, I guess on Instagram maybe. And they're like, oh wow, we have 24,000 people watching this. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. But like the organization, and like I don't even put it on the people in the lines because they're volunteers. They're not getting paid to do any of this. They're all 100% volunteers, which is, you know, how conventions work. Like it shouldn't fall on them to like be able to get people to line up. Like there should be cues like, hey, this is like where this starts, but also it should be on the people that are actually attending the panels to know how a fucking snake line works.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like the organization could have been a lot better, and I hope it's something they improve on. I haven't done the feedback survey yet. Which they currently have a feedback survey open. So and now after I've actually voiced out some of my qualms with the convention, I'm like, I should probably fill out that feedback.
Yeah,
survey.
same. I'm like, I know exactly what I'm gonna say now.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I should fill that out. Like the organization needs to be especially a convention that's been going on for, I mean, this year was the 15th year it's happened. So next year is, you know, the 16th annual Comic-Con, which seems insane.
Which maybe they should pay the volunteers.
It is like, that's just how conventions go. Like usually conventions aren't huge money making opportunities for, like, usually the organizers of the convention, like, it's not like, oh, it's my full-time job to run, you know, prior to last year, this one convention a year. Like I get that, but like, again, like there needs to be a better organization, like better organization of the convention, because it just gets, or they should go to a bigger space. It just gets way too fucking hectic of something that should not be a real problem, like lining up for a panel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one thing that also kind of annoyed me about that. Yeah, it was, yeah, maybe I should fill out that feedback survey.
They should have next time they get those people with those big banners where it says end of line or start of line or whatever, they should have a diagram of what a snake line looks like.
Yeah, or again, you can solve this problem simply by putting blue electric tape on the floor, which I know for a fact is what they did the first couple we went to. I don't know what changed. I understand, like, too, like I guess maybe they took away the tape because they were trying to social distance. There was no such social distancing at this one.
No.
Because at one point we're in a snake line. They're like, all right, smush together so we can fit more people in the line. So you're like shoulder to shoulder with people. So like, obviously there was no sort of like concern for that, which, you know, whatever. So just put the fucking tape on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean,
like if you wanna save on space, just put the tape. Just put the tape down.
Yeah, put the fucking tape down.
That will probably be easier to get up. Like you can just literally peel it off and then bam, done.
I mean, it's easy. And part of me is like, I wonder if like the BJCC has said they can't put tape on the floor, which would kind of blow my mind.
See, that would be insane because just like, how the fuck are you gonna run this bitch?
Yeah, like it seems like a super simple solution for. Again, it seems like and again, I don't even want to put it all on the organizers because I get that trying to orchestrate something like a 3-day convention can be extremely stressful, but it just seems like something that has gotten lost in the as this event has continued to get bigger and bigger every year, where it just seems like tape would solve it. Like go to Home Depot, get a couple rolls of blue electric tape, and
painter's tape would be the best choice.
Yeah, or painter's tape, whatever. And it like that would fix like 80% of this problem.
Yeah.
How
was the Case On panel?
It was a lot of fun. I was the one that's initiated this because I've played Yakuza Like a Dragon. I played every single Yakuza game, period. And I fucking love the series. And she's appeared in 2 of them or 3. I don't remember her in Yakuza 7 or Like a Dragon. But she's definitely in Gaiden and 8, Infinite Wealth. And she's super fun in both of them. She's a cabaret hostess in Gaiden, and then 8, she's like a bar person that you talk to pretty much the entire game. But she's a really funny, just fun VTuber person. She does half live content and half like VTuber with the anime avatar.
Yeah, and I had no prior, like I had no idea who she was, but like Colt was like, oh, we should go to that, and I'm like, okay, let's go. This was after I fucking rinsed Wenzel at fucking Puyo Puyo too, so I'm riding on a high, unlike any other. I'm like, yeah, I fucking got you.
And I was riding on, I'm gonna kill Tanner.
So we go to this panel because I'm like, oh yeah, that could be fun. She had a super fun energy. The guy that was with her, I don't know who the guy was. Because she's like assigned VTuber to, I guess, one of the bigger VTuber.
Yeah,
I don't get the whole VTuber politics thing. But she's signed to one of the bigger VTuber agencies. Again, she's based in Japan, so like Comic-Con flew her out from fucking Japan to come to Birmingham, Alabama, which is insane. And she did this panel, and she had a super fun energy. Like half the panel, she was like telling her experience of like the cultural shock of coming from Japan to Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide. She kept saying that, which was really funny. We got to tell her about Buc-ee's. Which was fun. And she was talking about like how she got into Yakuza like as a fan, and then she talked about like the casting process she had to go through to get into Gaiden and then Infinite Wealth. And she talked about that, and you know, somebody that was actually like a fan of the series getting in, so that was cool. And then like the second half was Q&A, and I don't know if you've ever been to a convention Q&A, you know, immediately you can get like the most cringe shit.
I love that shit. That's my favorite part of going to these panels.
No, I do too. But I was so scared because I'm like, oh fuck, like just somebody's going to ask something really cringy. There was actually, I didn't think a super cringy question.
No, everybody asked good questions.
Everybody asked a good question. I will say
there was people that had cringy energy.
Yes, but the questions for the most part were good. I will say I was a little worried because at one point they cut off the line, and then a guy, like the last guy, like lines up after the line has been closed, and so the would-be last person goes up to ask a question, and then this guy jumps up, and then the whatever the volunteer, the person running the line was like, hey, we've cut off the line. Like the line had clearly been cut off because there was like 7 people in line, and at one point they're like, all right, the 5 back here, y'all have to go sit down. We don't have enough time. And the guy like stands at I was like, whatever. But the guy was like clearly begging this guy. He's like, please let me ask this question to Kason. Please let me ask Kason this question. Please, 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 please. If you don't let me ask this question to Kason, like I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like very obviously like pleading with this guy. And this guy, you could tell like did not want to create like a situation. So he was like, fuck it, whatever. Ask your question. I don't even remember his question. It was nothing super memorable.
It was some like basic.
It was like, what's your favorite Yakuza game? Maybe.
Yeah.
No, maybe it was something just very innocent.
Yeah. Like the question itself wasn't bad, but I hated like after you kick these people out of line, like this one guy going up again, clearly after the line had been closed, and he's like, "Please let me ask this question. I have to fucking know this answer." Oh, hey, Kason, what's your favorite Yakuza game? And then also like that question had already kind of been answered already.
Yeah,
so I was like, whatever. But yeah, it was a really good panel. Like I thought she was great. I hope they bring in more VTuber people like that, especially somebody like Kason, who, you know, when we went to Comic-Con, Infinite Wealth had been out for like 2 weeks. So like there was a lot of people there, a lot of Yakuza fans. So, it was, you know, that was really cool. So I hope they continue maybe bringing in maybe like voice actors from video games, I think would be cool.
I would love that. That's where I know most of the voices anyways.
Yeah. So it was a really fun panel. Again, this comes down to an organization problem for me of just like, why did we let this guy ask this question? Like I felt bad for the people that got kicked out of line. And then like this guy goes up in the fucking 11th hour and is like, please, man, let me ask this question. I have to ask Kason this fucking question. Please, man, let me ask her. And then it's like, what's your favorite Yakuza game? It's like, get the fuck off the stage.
What if as soon as he asked that, the guy's like, okay, no, stops him.
Yeah, he's like, actually, Kason, you don't have to answer that, because this guy was literally on the verge of tears wanting to ask you this question, and you've already answered this. So I feel like since this guy didn't pay attention, he doesn't deserve your answer. And then told him to fuck off and sit down. But again, I get that you don't want to create like a situation especially like one of your big profile guests, like probably your most expensive act at this convention outside of like one of the bands you're flying over from Japan. Like, I mean, you're talking, you had to spend thousands of dollars to put, you know, fly Kason here, put her in a hotel for like a week, pay for her to like be driven around the city. I think she said she got in like 3 days before the convention started, and all that. So I get that, but like, I did feel bad for the people that had been standing in line for like 20 minutes, and then they get kicked out, and then this guy just gets to ask his fucking basic ass question and like, what's your favorite Yakuza game? And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah, no, it was funny, and it was kind of messed up, but whatever, you know, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean,
trying to think, was there anything else that was? Oh my god! Also, too, a dude at the fucking panel also said, I think this offended Tanner more than me, but I just think it's still funny when I think about it. Though he said University of Auburn rather than Auburn University.
Oh my god! Yeah, he was. Oh my god. Okay, so I've watched football all my life. I've watched sports all my life. So whatever.
Ooh, loser.
Yeah.
Nerd.
So at the anime convention, a guy goes to ask a question because Kason gets obsessed with saying Roll Tide. Like she's like, Roll Tide this. Like she was like, I bought a bunch of Roll Tide stuff. I'm like, oh, that's fun. Like it's because, you know, we see a lot of people here in America go to Japan and they just fucking buy everything. So it's kind of fun to be on the flip side of that, but also be local and be like, yeah, I bought like a Roll Tide shirt, I bought a Crimson Tide towel, and she bought all this shit. So I just find it really funny that this very popular VTuber from Japan comes to Alabama and just buys stuff that we see every fucking hour. Like you find it in gas stations here. And then one guy goes on the panel. It's like, well, like during the Q&A, it's like, well, Kason, obviously you give your Roll Tide for the University of Alabama, but how about a War Eagle for the University of Auburn? I'm like, shut the fuck up. First of all, it's Auburn University. It's really UA versus AU. So first of all, shut the fuck up because you obviously have no idea what you're talking about. Second of all, you're in Central Alabama. I don't give a fuck about hearing War Eagle here. Auburn fucking sucks. This guy's like, I'm a huge Auburn nerd, whatever. I was like, let's hear a War. I actually think he pluralized it and said War Eagles. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then, so Kason does say War Eagle, and it's like, oh, what? Like 5 people in the panel even knew what it fucking meant. And then Kason's like, the Eagles, and then like one person in the crowd's like, well, actually their mascot's a tiger, and I'm like, don't get into the fucking politics of Auburn University right now with their fucking catchphrase being War Eagle, yet they are represented by the fucking Tigers, so don't get into it. She doesn't care. And so it was like, I get it was very nitpicky on my part. It did just kind of irk me when I'm like, oh, let's hear it for the University of Auburn. I'm like, it's not the University of Auburn. It's not. It's a state college. It's Auburn. Yeah, but whatever. That was that was my soapbox.
And at the end, she was asked Roll Tide or War Eagle, and she went with Roll Tide. So Kason is cool.
Obviously, Kason confirmed. Confirmed. She likes to cheer for fucking winners. Evidently, I will say it was also really funny. I think we saw this guy on Friday. One of the photographers for Comic-Con was actually cosplaying as Nick Saban.
Yep.
Yes.
It was also like the exact height of Nick Saban. If you don't know Nick Saban, former coach at the University of Alabama, just retired.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Notoriously like 5'6". Like he's not a very tall person. And this person was like the exact height of Nick Saban, where from the back, like you go for a second, you're like,
it's an Asian man.
Well, from the back. I'm like, is that Nick Saban? Like, you could be fooled, like the exact same height and like body build as Nick Saban, and you're like, oh, that's and then it turns around and it's just like the photographer for Comic-Con. I thought that was cool. I thought that was funny, but yeah, Kason panel was really fucking good. I highly recommend if you like go to one of these conventions, then there's like a semi-popular voice actor or I guess a VTuber that does like one of these Q&As. I think it'd be fun to go to, especially if they're flying from another country to hear. Like, this goes for any convention in America. Like, I think it could be fun just to hear of like the cultural shock they have experienced coming from somewhere like Japan and then, spending a week in Alabama of all fucking places.
Just experience the fan group that they have accrued, even if you don't know anything about them, just to see what the fuck's going on over here.
Yeah, like, what's the deal with VTubers? Because there was definitely people in there that had no idea what Yakuza was.
Yeah, and also, I just remember the VTuber thing. At the signing tables, there was one VTuber that was there that was doing signings and talking to people through a monitor.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was in the first row. If you go all the way to the back, there was a VTuber table with a human, and right next to the human was the avatar thing on the monitor.
That's fun.
Yeah, we would walk by it, and I would see the monitor, and I'd see like a VTuber on it. I'd be like, oh, that they're playing a video. No, that's the actual person right there.
Because I saw someone talking to it, and I was like, what the fuck?
They're like live.
I'm just imagining like somebody going up to the signing table and like the voice actor starts like talking to their VTuber, and then the person just talking to the VTuber and was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to get your autograph. You're on the screen. And then the voice actor being like, well, I can sign it. And there's like, no, they have to sign it.
And how are they going to sign it?
Yeah, it's just that was just a fun bit I thought of. Man, I bet that, I mean, I still don't understand the intricacies of VTubers. Like, I know that they're extremely popular, especially like the big ones are extremely popular.
I just don't like how corporate it is. That's one of my big like things that gets me not into it. Is just how like you can't have that identity if you decide to not do it for a while. Like, you are completely fired and you can never identify as that VTuber ever again, or that character.
Yeah, like Kason was talking about how she's friends with somebody, I guess also in Japan, because like I said, she signed is it called V Shoujo maybe?
Yeah, that's it.
It's like it's like the big VTuber. It's like, because I understand there's like a HoloLive VTubers and then Kaison's with like V Shoujo or whatever the fuck. So I get there's like a lot of politics and like contracts having to be signed. And she's like, yeah, there's one of my friends, like I've been trying to get out of her room and she's like, won't get out of her room, and like, kept joking about it. And then I'm thinking in the background, I'm like, man, she probably hasn't been out of her room because she's forced to be like this digital avatar for probably 8 to 10 hours a day, 4 to 5 to 6 days a week. I'm like, she's probably fucking exhausted.
It was also funny because Kason was like kind of hinting like someone would ask a question saying like, did you prefer being solo or do you like being this signed more? And she's like, just stay solo if you can.
Yeah, she was like, stay independent if you can do it. Because there was a couple people that went up. It was like, there was one person that said, I'm actually a VTuber myself, and it was very clearly somebody that like, I don't know. Like it'd be like me going up to fucking Josh Brolin and being like, well, I'm actually a bit of an actor myself behind the mic. I'm a podcaster. Like, kind of felt that kind of energy, but it was like, oh, do you prefer being, because they even said at the beginning of the panel, because I think V Shoujo had just let go of a couple of VTubers.
Yes.
So the guy, like, I guess being like the facilitator of questions, like at the beginning, like before the panel officially started, was like, hey, just so you know, like, we can't really answer any of those questions. So, if you can not ask those, that would be great, which, everybody followed. But then people got really close to that line. It was like, hey, do you like getting paid by this corporate company you're owned by? Or would you rather say fuck them and be independent again? And like, that's a really hard question to ask somebody. So yeah, I kind of felt bad for her when she had to answer that, because she was like, well, I think she towed the line very well. She was like, well, I think you should stay independent if you're independent. I think you have a lot more freedom that way, which, I mean, that goes for any sort of industry ever. But she's like, maybe stay independent if you can do it. So it was really funny that they asked her these questions, and like, I thought she did extremely well answering like all the questions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a super fun panel. I very much enjoyed going to that panel. One thing I want to mention, I can't think of any other panels we went to off the top of my head real quick. I want to mention in the gaming room, they got rid of all of like the fucking like pod games that they used to have. They used to bring like a lot of like the full, I don't even know what kind of video game you would, or arcade game you would call this, but like you sit in a chair and you're like controlling a mech.
Yeah, the Gundam pods.
Yeah, I guess the Gundam pods. There wasn't any Gundam pods this year.
Yeah, ooh. I've never experienced them. I remember when you went with the gang, you'd always brag about how fun it was.
It was super fun, and
never
like
let me play.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't remember if they. I guess they didn't have them last year either.
They did.
Okay, I guess they had them last year, but the line was super long, so I think that's why
it was. Yeah.
Like y'all never did it, but I was just like, man, that seems like such a cool thing, and they just didn't have them this year. But I will say the games they did bring for like the arcade room, like I thought there was a lot of fun games when you could actually
play them,
because there would be some people, and I will say Wenzel and I were guilty of this. Now I will say if I saw people like queuing behind us, we got up.
Yeah. There was nobody queuing behind us.
Yeah, there was nobody. Like when Wenzel and I played like 4 or 5 rounds of Puyo Puyo.
4.
Maybe?
We played 4.
Yeah, and I fucking rinsed them. They're like, don't even get me started. God damn, it was honestly embarrassing. For God, but but there was nobody queuing behind us. There were some people that just definitely were hogging machines.
Yes, there was a dude on the Gundam machine for like 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, there was because there was a Gundam game that just wasn't one of the Gundam pods, but there was specifically somebody on a Tekken 7 machine that very obviously had fighting game experience. Like, and so they like, I guess,
and his name was Colt.
No,
no.
We did go on the Tekken machine like 4 or 5 rounds, and Tanner was a bitch using the same fucking easy character.
Hey, guess what? And I fucking won too.
And you know what? When I picked that character, I won.
Well, weird. Hey, just in my experience, I would have kept picking the character that I won with. Is all I'm saying.
I wouldn't let me pick characters.
Okay. But there was this guy on the Tekken 7 machine where like one of the people he was with was like, "Oh, nobody can beat this guy. Nobody can fucking beat this guy." And he just like kept sitting in one of the chairs. And like this girl would like go out of her way. He's like, "You see him? He's a fucking legend, like killing the shit." And like I think there was people queuing up to like play against their friends, and they're like, "You want to play him?" I'm like, what? Come on, they have fighting game tournaments at Comic-Con. Enter that. Don't fucking hog like
the free play.
The free play, like more casual experience for people. Like it just turns people off. Like fuck off.
Yeah.
No.
You go.
I was gonna say there was this guy there was this like rhythm game that Colt got on, and then there was the same exact machine next to it, and there was this guy who clearly also had experience playing this
specific weird rhythm game that I'd never even seen.
And it had me over there on playing on easy difficulty, fucking up everything. It was, to be fair, it's the first time I ever played it, and it's complicated as shit because there's buttons to mash and there's knobs to turn at the exact same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was confused.
And there's a pedal.
I didn't even use the pedal. That's how good I was.
This guy had a fucking glove. If it's the same guy I'm thinking of.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
This machine did not have a pedal.
Yeah, you were off playing something else while he was.
Okay, maybe I was on the pedal game then.
No, Tanner, you were on the pedal game. This machine had like Colt said, there was like a knobs and buttons, but then there was like this you had to like turn. Yeah, a knob basically. You had to turn the slider, and this dude comes up to this, stances up, literally spreads his legs.
Yeah,
like
puts his own earbuds in because there's a audio jack port.
Oh, okay. I know. Okay, I know this guy you're talking about now.
And then he taps his credit card on the thing.
It's not a credit card. It's like a card that like tracks your stats.
Oh, okay. Well, it looked like, sorry. Anyway, and dude is sitting there finagling the fucking audio setting. Can't get to it, so he just takes out his headphones and just plays it normal or without it. Dude goes insane. He plays on the hardest fucking difficulty on what I assume is the hardest song because I saw its rating or whatever, and he gets like a perfect score. And I'm just like, how the fuck can you track any of this? Because it was going so fast. Dude was hitting every single note. He got a perfect on it. It was insane. And guy was like, woo, like turn around, like see if anybody was watching. And I made sure my gaze did not meet his.
Yeah, he was the alpha.
No, because it was a dude who clearly like also comes to the show to show off.
Yeah.
But it was insane. And dude keeps playing it, and at some point he gets like a 99% and gets pissed at the machine. I'm like, fuck off, dude. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, like, and I get it. There's people that come to these things, not the most social people. So like, I get it. Like, if you want to try to show off at an arcade game, just don't hog, I guess, a machine for multiple hours.
Yeah.
I guess that's like one thing I've always loved playing on and like the arcade room is the Taiko no Tetsujin game, the drum game. Because it's like the only place around here that has it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, and it's 2-player, so 2 people can play at a time. Colt and I believe played last year. I don't know if me and Wenzel went up against each other last year.
No, I never got to it.
But Colt and I played last year, and the line this year, it was never super long, but there would be people there that would play like 10 or 11 songs. So you're talking about 2 people hogging the machine while there's already a queue, and they would play for like 30 minutes. So it was like impossible. So I wish there was even just the slightest bit of oversight with that. Like, hey, 3 songs. Like if it's 2-player, you'll get 3 songs. So, and if you want to play again, you can play again, but you have to get back in line. I think would be a more fair way to do it, just because there was always a queue at the Taiko machine, and there was just or they should just bring more fucking Taiko machines.
Yeah.
because I mean, I fucking love Taiko no Tetsujin. Like, I have all the games that are on Switch. Like, I love playing it. I love playing on the Comic-Con 2019 was the first time I'd ever been like, I guess, shown any of that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is like such a fucking fun game. And I bought every Taiko game on Switch. I have a ton, like pretty much all the DLC you could have for it.
And it's not like they don't have room in that room, because there's a VR section that takes up a fourth of it, and there's only like 3 people in there doing the VR stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just like, which, you know, if you want to have the VR section, that's fine. There's still plenty of room, even if you kept everything in there that was in there.
Yeah, like they didn't have the Gundam pods.
Yeah, like the Gundam pods, like I get they take up a ton of room, but like they also didn't really replace the Gundam pods with anything.
Yeah, they didn't.
It was weird. Like they had a lot more like PCs set up this year. They had like some PS5 set up. They had some like a retro gaming corner. Like, it's a really cool setup. I just wish there was some sort of oversight. It's like, hey, maybe you can't sit here and do this all day. Which, like, pretty much if you're not in there and grab a, because at one point we were like, oh, let's see if we can get a PC. And the people that were sitting there were like the sweats.
Glued.
They sat there literally, like I saw these same people at 2:00 and 10:00. So it's just like, if you don't get one as soon as the convention opens, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah,
like,
no.
At that point, why are you here?
Yeah.
There's so many other things you can do, but you're stuck in the game room.
Yeah, like it would be individuals. So like, you know, if you bought a group and you were like, hey, let's try to get 4 PCs and do like a couple of rounds, like LAN party style, playing this game. I get that. I totally fucking get that. And like, that'd be cool, especially if it's people you don't see all the time. Like if it's, you have a friend from Tennessee that came for this and you're from Georgia and you came, do it. I totally fucking get that. But like, solo players would be like, oh, time to grind Overwatch 2 for 10 hours. I'm like, why did you spend the $60 to get in here and you're doing what you could have done at home for free? Like, it's just super fucking weird. But yeah. What else did we do?
I want to say that's everything.
I want to say at the vending room, I got the orange piccolo.
Yeah.
I got a Yoruichi relax figure, because I want Yoruichi figures, but there's only 2 and one's like $300 and the other is $35, and I went with the $35 option.
Hey, fair.
Yeah. And I also got 2 model kits, which I haven't gotten any model kits in 2 years, but I saw both of these and I thought, fuck yes, I love both of these Gundams or mobile suits. I got the not new type, fuck. Oh my god, High News Gundam. It's the purple one. I can't remember the official name, but it's a beautiful, beautiful real grade. And I also got a Zeta Verka Master Grade, which came out last year. Super excited to actually get to that whenever I do, but video games are sucking me dry right now.
Yeah, I will say that area where Colt got the Gundams, I will say the people that were selling those were selling them for very good prices. Like,
yes,
they had
very good.
They had a couple of the One Piece ship model kits, and like I almost bit, 'cause I'm like, oh, this is like cheaper than like you just don't see them in stores here. I'm like, this is like cheaper than you can get it online. So like I almost bit, but at the end of the day, I was like, well, it'd probably be next year anyways till I built it, so I might as well just wait till next year. But yeah, I will say that was a really good area. I will say it's extremely funny. We saw one guy, like as we were walking into the convention on Friday, had a wagon full of gun, like probably spent, I mean, I don't know prices of, but had like a couple of perfect grades. So like probably easily $1,000.
Yeah, he had at least 1,000 on him.
Dude had Gunpla and Zoids.
Yeah, and Zoids. And he found, I guess, a table they had set up, but nobody was at. And he fucking plants himself at this table and just starts building his kits.
And he's continued doing it to the second day. But in the second day, he was in the like hall that you walk from the hotels to the actual convention for like 10 plus hours. With his back bent over. I couldn't do that shit. His back has to be made of fucking titanium or some shit.
I'm like, how are you? Like, I mean, seriously, like sitting like on his ass, bent over, building like these very intricate. So I've built one Gundam ever, and I built like one of the, I believe it's called a 30-minute mission.
Yeah, they're super easy starters.
Super easy starter. This guy was doing like the multi-hour kits.
Yes.
Especially a perfect grade, like from what I understand, can take like
days, really.
Yeah, like double-digit hour times. And he was just like sitting there with his little tweezers, like, you know, tweezing away, putting shit together. I'm like, why are you doing that here? And then I was like, how the fuck are you getting this home without it breaking?
Yeah, that's my thing. I have no clue how you transport that.
Yeah, like even in your own car, like I don't really understand.
I mean, well, that stuff holds up pretty well if you put it. Well, the thing is you're gonna have to take it apart basically, but like in sections and then put it in the box, and it should be fine. Because I've transported, you know, Gunpla that I've built in boxes cross places, so it's, you know, it's not too bad. But like, what if he has to fly?
Like,
that was my thing, because I mean, with Comic-Con getting bigger,
story.
A lot of people do fly in for Comic-Con across, you know, this region of the country. I'm just like, what are you doing? And again, this guy could have lived in Birmingham. I don't fucking know. But I'm just like, why did you spend like this amount of money to sit here and do this?
Yeah, like just wait till you get home.
And you know, however people spend their money, I do not give a flying fuck. But just sitting there for hours on end, hunched over in the cross breeze connecting the hotels to the actual convention floor, like thousands of people are passing you, and you're just like, all right, I gotta build this fucking Gundam right now.
Well, I mean,
and he was building, like, there was two that were the exact same thing that he built, and they were massive.
Yeah, huge.
You know, you do you. If that's the only time you can do it, fine.
Yeah,
you know?
like if you're just, you know, if you have a kid at home, or, you know, you just don't have the time to sit for 10 hours, sure, whatever. By that point, like, get a hotel room and just fucking build it in the hotel. At least you would have a chair. Like, I guess, like this guy was sitting on his ass.
Yeah, like, just go into the hotel lobby. There were some perfect counters.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're in both hotels. And these are like nicer hotels. These aren't like bad hotels by any means. Like you would have been a lot more. I don't know. Again, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but it just seemed weird that it was like, all right, I got to buy this convention pass. I got to go spend $1,000 on Gundam, and then I have to find literally a 3x3 square so I can build these fucking Gundams for the next 20 hours.
Hell yeah!
It's like, you know what? You do you.
Did you buy anything else, Colt?
No, that's it. I didn't buy much this year, but what I did buy was not cheap.
What I got was, like I said before, me and Cole got the same Orange Piccolo figure. I got a little keychain of War Greymon from this really cool artist. So Many Dwagons, like with a W, Dwagons. I think that's what it is. That's what they are. They do mostly dragons and reptiles and stuff from like video games, mostly video games, yeah, and then anime. And then I got these Lego minifigs, and I think that's it.
I got Lego minifigs too. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
so you lied to me.
Well.
So you
I didn't think you got any this year, Colt.
Yeah, I did. I got Asa or War Devil. I got 2 Space Marines, and I got Jogo. And for the final, I got the Spartan from the novels. I can't remember. He's got like a red line on his armor.
It's either Jerome or Andrew.
Yeah.
I think it's Jerome.
Yeah,
Halo Wars.
Yes, Halo Wars. Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that Lego creator. I hope they continue to get that, because they were in the exact same spot they were in last year. I hope they continue to.
I was so jealous last year when you guys got some. So this year I got some. I got Katana Man and Denji from Chainsaw Man and Pachita. I got Hanami from JJK, and then I got a Space Marine as well. Didn't didn't realize that Pachita comes with Denji no matter what. So they kind of cheated me out of my 5th figure, but that's whatever.
Yeah, and also super good prices.
I'm just kidding.
I think it was $10 for 5 minifigs.
No, it's $20 for 5.
It's $20.
Which is a little expensive, but you know what?
I mean, for custom minifigs, I don't really think it is.
Not really expensive.
I don't think. I mean, it's the same price you would spend buying a custom minifig online. Actually, it's cheaper. And also, what I liked is they said 4 for $20, and then you go up, and they're not like, all right, it's going to be $22. It was $20. They took your $20. They gave you a bag. They were like, hey, if you want to stand for your minifigs, they're free to take 2, 3 of them if you want. I thought it was super cool. I really like the way they did it, and I will continue to support them every year that they're there.
Yeah, like if anything, this is actually the most cheaply and most fairly priced thing. I mean, they're literally every little figure is like $4 besides the huge and then the super big ones. Yeah.
Yep, I completely agree. But yeah, all of that being said, I did not expect us to go this long on Comic-Con. I'm going to be honest.
I didn't either.
I know we spent like half of it bitching, but we had such a great time. I always love when we get to do like these little trips together. And we will continue to go to Comic-Con until they listen
Tell
to
us
this
to stop going
and say we can't go anymore. They say, actually, you guys complain too much, so we would just rather not have the bad vibes.
Yeah, but we never bring bad vibes. We're always laughing our asses off.
Oh yeah,
laugh.
I'm talking about if somebody there listened to it, because I believe somebody in our general group at least used to be acquaintances with one of the organizers.
Don't snitch. Don't snitch.
Don't snitch. They're probably not listening, but yeah, I believe that used to be the case. Anyways, I don't even know if it's the same I assume it's probably the general same group of people that have been organizing it, and this was also 5 years ago. So yeah, a lot could and probably did change. So I'm not 1,000% sure.
Yeah. But I guess that's it for Comic-Con talk. Everybody had a great time?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, a great time. I mean, again, we're literally talking about going longer next year. I honestly think it'd be a lot of fun if we did all 3 days, but I realize I'd be very...
Sunday is just way too tired at that point.
Yeah,
I mean, if Colt would stop being a bitch.
Oh, but I feel like if we went on Sunday, we would all probably have to take Monday off. And then at that point, you're like, oh my God, that's
too much.
That's a lot.
I'm always off on Monday.
Wow.
no, I don't know. And usually Sundays really when the con winds down as well. Like,
yeah,
like their panels are kind of, so it's nothing too crazy.
Yeah, like Sundays mostly like the last little bit of panels. Like there's not like a big thing on Sunday besides like the closing ceremony. I think it starts at like 5. Sunday's always just generally a shorter day.
It's always interesting though that they have the game room open, and I just can't imagine somebody being like, "Oh yeah, we got to go to the game room and we got to sit down the PC and get some gaming in for these last few hours of Comic-Con."
I mean, if I'm in the game room, I'm going for the cool Japanese arcades.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's what we do.
But we're not the other people.
Yeah. I don't know, but notes for next year: bring back the Gundam or any sort of mech game pod. Even if it's just like 2 of them, bring it back.
Oh, I also dominated at pinball. Wenzel and Tanner suck.
I will say Colt did very well at the Deadpool pinball machine, which I had played that machine before because at the barcade I've been to a few times in Huntsville. Oh my god, what's the name of it? Pixel something. Jesus.
Oh, Pixels and Pints.
Pixels and Pints. Yes. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
I've played it there, which by the way is a great barcade in Huntsville if you're ever in that general vicinity, very close to the event center. And it's like $12 all you can play all day, and they have like 45 beers and ciders on tap. It's really, really cool. Yeah, I played it a few times there, but I honestly, one day when I have the spare change, I would love to get a fucking pinball machine.
Yeah, pinball is fun.
Yeah, I've become quite pinball pilled.
All right, well, Colt can calm down because that's probably the easiest pinball machine ever in the universe. So
then why did I beat you and you were last?
There was no.
I will say Wenzel was last by a lot.
There was no competition whatsoever. Okay, let's calm down.
Okay, all right.
Wenzel actually had a pretty heated gamer moment at one point. No, I'm just kidding.
There was like a mom and son next to us, and he's like, "Fuck," and she's like, "Hey," and he's like, "Shut the fuck up." And
I mean, part of that probably actually did happen.
That did not happen. Literally, the mom and son asked me a question about the pinball machine. I showed them how to play it, and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much," and that's it.
Yeah,
they were so sweet.
I do like the arcade area. I hope they expand it a little next year. Like maybe the arcades can take up like 50% instead of like 25% of the area, and maybe we like scale down the VR area.
No, let's make the VR 75% bigger and have all the VR headsets be.
Also,
what?
Let me mention the cars. I don't need the cars.
Yeah, they're fun.
The cars.
Just show them outside. Just show them outside.
Shut up. We need the cars.
We need more cars. If I don't see a fucking rim car at next year's Comic-Con, I'm gonna go fucking ape shit. But no, like
you stupid Bacchus, you just don't understand the hot rod culture.
We saw the Deku car for the second year in a row.
Yeah, which was the third time I had seen it, because that same My Hero car has been at least every Comic-Con since 2019.
Jesus,
it's insane. But Wenzel saying Baka reminded me of that TikTok Colt sent me of that guy going, oi, oi, oi. He's like, oh, I didn't realize the camera was on. And I guess I wasn't aware my mouth could use these mannerisms and that I'm Japanese.
That's you, Wenzel.
Yeah, that was Wenzel when he said Baka. But yeah, I've nothing else to say about Comic-Con besides maybe we can get some better organization next year. Hopefully. They still haven't announced the dates for next year's Comic-Con, which is really weird because they usually announce the dates for the next year's Comic-Con at the closing ceremony. And I haven't seen any information about when next year's Comic-Con is.
And I don't even know if they're doing that one in fall.
Yeah, I would honestly love to go to the one in the fall. Like, we love Huntsville. I would love to go if that's something.
Ooh,
I also want to go to that toy convention.
Oh yeah, the fucking Awesome Con. Is that what it was called? I don't remember what it was called. I think Wenzel had it on his calendar, but
I just want to go to like a vintage toy convention. I want to buy old toys.
Yeah, I will say that was something else. Oh my god, shit! We have so much. I still have one little thing. Okay,
let's go.
There's this really cool little vendor which had a bunch of like vintage toys, including like Beast Wars, like vintage Beast War figures. And there was this one that I actually was going to buy after I thought about it a little bit, but then as soon as I circled back around, it was gone immediately. It was like a bison. It was like $20-$30, and I was so sad. I was like, holy shit, that was so cool. And it's just gone. And then there was another little vendor that had this kind of corner with a bunch of baggies full of like figures that, you know, they just don't have their boxes or whatever. They're pre-owned or whatever you want to say. I think that's what they should have more of, is a bunch of just vintage pre-owned, like, you know, secondhand sellers there, rather than having a bunch of...
I have no qualms with buying used stuff.
Me either. Like,
not stuff like that. I mean, if you're taking it out of the box anyways, oh shit, I don't have a box. That's just one less thing I can put in my fucking closet.
Exactly.
I'll buy reusable toilet paper.
I missed that vendor.
Anyway, yeah, like, I just wish there was more of that rather than just a bunch of guys who are just gonna mark up shit and not explain their rules.
Yeah. We saw some figures there that were, I mean, again, it's not like I know the prices of all these figures, but we saw some people selling figures for like $300-$400.
There was a guy at one of the vendors that right next to me, he just walked up, saw what he wanted immediately. He's like, I'm buying that. It was a like $350 Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And he just bought it just like that. I don't know how he had the willpower to do that.
I would have cracked under pressure. Pressure would have been a second of me sweating.
It'd been awesome if Wenzel saw that guy and Wenzel just went into a bidding war. I'll give you $360.
oh my god, that should be a bit.
Wenzel's like, oh my god, next year at Comic-Con, Wenzel, can we get into a fake bidding war over an item, and like we keep driving up the price, like I'll give you 150 for it, and then like just after a little bit we just like, nah, I don't really want it.
Yeah. We need to go crazy.
Write it down. No, I legitimately, what Comic-Con kind of snuck up on me this year, in a way where it usually doesn't. So I didn't have like a ton of money in my budget. Next year, I would actually like to buy a lot more stuff than I did this year.
No, I will say too, with the vendor hall stuff, there was a lot of figures. It just seems like they were trying to get rid of everything they were selling last year because there was a bunch of new figures. I was trying to look for it. They just they didn't have them, and that's just
didn't have them.
It's just because the timing. Like the only one that they had that, thank goodness they did, I guess, that like I saw was the orange Piccolo. Like that's it. Like every other figure that I've been on the lookout for, they just didn't have. So so next year, more than likely, those figures will hopefully be there. But at the same time, it's just like if they're gonna do the shit that they did this year, like they can fuck off.
Yeah, with the cat, like that's the whole benefit of buying with cash. I also have one more little qualm. The people at the fucking in the vendor hall that sell
wash your bodies.
Oh,
you stink.
I do agree with that.
That's what you're about to say.
No, but I do agree with that. It's insane that we got into the convention hall like 2 hours after opening, and people already smelled like they hadn't showered in 3 days. I was like, man, it smells like Sunday afternoon in here. It was fucking.
It was sour and the most foul smells you've ever.
It was.
smelled.
I'm like all the stereotypes are correct. Like, why are you not fucking bathing before coming, or using deodorant, or just practicing good hygiene, whatever?
And the card room just smells like fucking deli meat.
Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry, Tanner. I know you're gonna say something.
No, you go ahead.
I just had to bring up that literally the card room. Colt says it smelled like deli meat. It smelled like cat piss. It
was not good smells.
It was not a good smell. And we say card room. It was the game. It was the game room for like board games and cards and stuff. And it smelled so bad in there. And I just wish there should be an event every
deodorant
hour.
challenge.
That, or they're like stinkiest boy,
loses.
Stinkiest person, come up here right now, and they come up there and they execute them.
Or just like hose them off. Like, come on. Honestly, it kind of blows my mind because this would do. I don't understand why they don't try to go after this. They should really try to get like an anime themed like spray deodorant company. I realize that's incredibly niche, but there's like anime themed candle shops and stuff. So I can't imagine there's not like a spray good anime themed. Try to get them to come, and they would make bank. Like, holy fuck. Like, Jesus Christ. I would buy bottles just to give to people. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, some of these people stunk. But no, what I was going to say is the people that that are in the vendor hall that sell specifically Japanese consoles and Japanese games. Listen here, buddy. As somebody that has done extensive research of how much this shit is priced, the fact you're trying to sell a Japanese Nintendo 64 for $500 fucking dollars, get the whole fuck out of here. I don't care that it's modded and it can play US and Japanese Nintendo 64 games. I don't give a fuck. I know how much that shit costs. I know it's not $500 fucking dollars, especially if it's not in a box and you literally just have fucking shrink wrap around it. Get the whole actual fuck out of here.
Light them up, Tanner.
I will say,
pisses
there was
me off.
Very small vendor that had like a selection of DS games that are Japanese. Those were fairly priced.
Yes.
There was a bunch of Mega Man games that I was super, super tempted to get.
Yeah,
but I didn't.
I'm because that same vendor also had some actual Japanese Nintendo DSs, if I'm remembering correctly, and like Japanese PSPs, and they were fairly priced. I bought a Japanese PSP last year. They were around the same ballpark. So whatever, I'm fine with that. But they're trying to sell like, and it's to people that don't know, that just have all this spare cash ready to spend at these conventions. And you can get a Japanese Nintendo 64 for literally $100. Like, you do not spend. And this wasn't like any of the special edition ones. This was like a base Japanese model Nintendo 64 that was modded where you could play US and Japanese Nintendo 64 games on it. And literally, I think the price was like $440. I'm like, no, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, holy shit. And then some of the people like were selling games. Again, some of the sealed box games I thought were very fairly priced. Some of the not sealed box games were like literally like 2,000% marked up. Like games you could like find online even for like $10, $12. They had marked up for $40, $50, $60. And like these are some games that you could go into any fucking like super potato in Japan and get for like $3. Like, what the fuck are we doing? That was my last little nitpick. Stop price gouging fucking shit that doesn't need to be price gouged.
Also, clean up the poop corners more often because I couldn't find a good spot to stand.
Yeah.
Damn.
I had to go poop a few times, but I couldn't because there's so much poop in the poop corners.
Colt, I don't know why you mentioning a poop corner reminded me of this. We actually did go to another panel.
What?
We went to the exhibition cosplay contest.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to go out and say I do not know what the difference was between the exhibition cosplay contest and the main cosplay contest because there was 2 separate events. Because some of these people, like, I don't know if it has to do with how much you spend or what, or just if you consider a cosplayer versus a quote unquote pro cosplayer. But there's some really intricate cosplays at this exhibition contest, which was a ton of fun. I don't know if y'all want to talk about anybody in specific.
I want to bring up there was 2 Sonic the Hedgehogs, and one I felt really bad for.
Yeah,
because the other Sonic the Hedgehog had a full-on Sonic fursuit that looked fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and the other person had a clearly like a sweat and tears homemade costume.
Yeah. So that was funny. I will say one thing I fucking hated about the cosplay exhibition thing, where the girl that was like emceeing it was like, "Oh, if you want to say anything in character, here's the mic." And it's just like, fuck me.
Give me that power.
There's 85 people in line, and I guarantee you 75 people said shit, and 60 of it was just like, why aren't we letting these people talk? Like, no.
And they weren't saying anything into the mic. They were like 10 feet away saying their references.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite, there was 2 people that cosplayed as Sans and Papyrus from Undertale.
They were fun.
They were funny, but it was really because the person acting like Sans was acting like Sans, and the person acting like Papyrus was like doing the big bolstering like Papyrus strut. That was fun. Didn't need to say anything. They didn't say anything that I can remember. If they said anything, it was very short and to the point. I thought it'd be funny if maybe the person that was doing Sans went up and just went like, did the Sans voice. I thought that'd have been funny. But yeah, like because if you give people the opportunity to talk into a mic, they're gonna fucking do it, and they shouldn't.
Yeah, also hyping up a kid just because he's wearing a blue shirt and has a Minecraft axe, that pissed me off.
I thought that was fine. It was a
people were like
kid
saying he needs to win. He needs to win. I say, fuck you. He didn't do jack shit. His mom got him that blue shirt for Christmas.
I mean, sure. I mean, he didn't win. I don't think.
I know.
Good.
Thank God he didn't. I would
have. I thought it was fun
because
it was like a very little. It was like a 4-year-old probably.
Yeah, and that 4-year-old could have worked harder.
Exceptions.
There was no blockiness about his cosplay other than the store-bought pickaxe or sword, whatever the fuck.
And that wasn't even bought with his money. It was probably bought with his fucking rich ass parents.
Yeah, I think kids need to go back into the mines.
Nepo baby.
Nepo. Oh my God! Wow. Well, I didn't realize y'all.
I'm unironically glad he didn't win because I'm just kidding. It's a fucking kid.
It's whatever.
Yeah, but also like his cosplay is not as impressive as the person dressed as the lamb from Cult of the Lamb.
Oh, that one was good.
That was so cool. They had oh my God, they actually made a pile of shit.
Yeah, because they poop all the time in the game.
I will say it was really funny before that contest started. I saw that person that was dressed as the lamb from the Cult of the Lamb, like with their mask on, and you could just tell they were fucking dying in that costume.
Oh, it had to be hot as fuck
because it was like a pleather mask, and I could just see like and like the mask like moving, and I'm like, what, man, this guy is fucking going through it.
And then like the costume was made out of wool.
Yeah,
so
the costume was made out of wool, and the pile of shit that they had, like they were carrying around in a bowl because it was fucking huge.
It looked like obviously it's not real shit, but it looked thick. Like
yeah, it looked. I imagine it was probably maybe some sort of slime, maybe that they made.
They
because it looked wet.
Maybe it's fresh.
It honestly looks like some kind of mold. I want to say it's like some kind of thick mold.
Yeah, it definitely could have been, but fuck, that guy was going through. I felt so bad for that guy. Like I could just see them in the mask going.
And that's why we give no quarter to little fucking kids who think they can just come up here and just get a bunch of applause and cheers for doing jack shit while there's a guy dying.
The guy was going fucking through it.
They did have a fun moment on the mic where they said like, all my loyal followers praise me. It was very fun.
It was very fun.
Yeah, there was a couple people that got on the mic and it was funny.
They knew what they were doing. They knew how to fucking use a microphone.
Yeah, and they also only said like 5 or 6 words. That's fine. But some people some people got on the mic and they were like, well, thank God I am prepared to go into a complete. Was there not somebody cosplaying as fucking Toji and pointed their fake gun at the crowd and called and said, I'm about to kill all these cursed or no, who somebody called somebody monkeys. And it
was someone dressed as Ghetto.
Yes. And they got on and they were like, you filthy fucking monkey. It went into like a whole monologue.
But there was someone that was on stage that said, I'm going to kill all of you.
Yeah, I think it was the person.
They were in a trench coat.
Oh, maybe they were. I don't remember who they were. But somebody pointed a fake gun at the crowd. And I'm like, oh, maybe we should.
Somebody did that. Then somebody was also dressed as Bon Voyage from The Incredibles, and they also did a bit where they basically threatened to bomb the building.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, and that was fine.
But then I did a bit where I was like, should somebody report that?
Yeah, like I'm just like, maybe there's some things we shouldn't say on a mic. Maybe you shouldn't go up on a mic in a convention center, even if you were cosplaying as a terrorist. And saying,
guys, I'm Osama bin Laden. Why won't you let me in?
And saying, I'm going to blow up this convention hall.
Okay, wait a minute. I have a funny idea for next year.
No. I don't want to get banned.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was definitely I completely forgot about that until when our Colt mentioned the poop corner.
Okay. Is that everything?
I think that's everything.
Also, the piss buckets overflowing. Overflowing.
Oh my god! I do need to talk about the fucking lemonade I got.
Oh yeah, the fucking $12 lemonade.
It's like $10 for this lemonade at this lemonade stand, and
there was a drink machine in the corner. You just got it because you were thirsty.
Yeah. Well, also I didn't know there was a drink machine in the corner until y'all went to the drink machine while I was in line for this fucking lemonade.
No, you were already paying when we were heading.
This is what happened. Tanner was already paying for it. We noticed the drink machine. Tanner comes back to us and we're like, "Hey, Tanner, you're gonna be upset, but there's a drink machine in the corner. We're gonna go get drinks."
Yeah, I'm just like, motherfucker. I spent like $8 or $9 on this fucking lemonade, and literally this lemonade was like half water. A guy dropped a whole half of a lemon in it and then maybe 7 cups of sugar and then was like, here you go. Here's your lemonade. It was probably the worst lemonade I'd ever had. I wouldn't even call it lemonade.
You even left the cup.
Yeah. And I ended up leaving the souvenir cup. I'm like, I don't need another fucking souvenir. I already have 2 cups that Riley and I got from New Orleans that are literally just big fucking cock roosters, but it says big cock on it. And I'm like, I don't need more. And I have several souvenir cups from like Fat Tuesdays. I'm like, I don't need another fucking souvenir cup. But I got it because it was a bigger cup and it was only like $1 more. And I was extremely thirsty at this point. And I'm just like, motherfucker. And then Wenzel and Colt find like this. I will say it was a weird vending machine because like all drinks $2 and then it charged like $4.
But then it gave the money back.
But then it gave you the $2. I'd never seen a vending machine work like a fucking gas pump. So it was
very bizarre.
Really weird.
And it was crazy too, because the vending machine clearly was having problems because there was a bunch of drinks at the bottom of it that had fallen out. Because it's one of those.
Wenzel almost didn't get one.
Almost didn't get mine. It was gonna make me so mad, but it worked. So it's okay.
Everybody got their drinks, but yeah, great man. I can't believe we went almost 3 fucking hours.
I didn't expect this. All right, let's go into plugs. Thank you. What, Colt?
Plug it.
Oh, okay. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at AYCH Podcast. Listen to us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, anywhere.
Well, not Google Podcasts. Google Podcasts doesn't exist anymore.
Really?
It never existed.
Well, no, it actually doesn't exist. I believe it's now on YouTube, but you have to like upload your RSS feed to YouTube.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's very recent, like within the last month, I think Google Podcasts actually permanently shut down.
Oh, yes, Google Poopcast now.
Sorry about that. But yeah, check us out. Give us feedback, review, give us 5 stars. It really helps us out. Subscribe. Go follow all the other podcasts, Cajun Greatness, Instruction
Just came
Booklet.
back. Go listen.
Yeah. Instruction Booklet also recently had an episode come out. Go. There's also the Backlog Boys pod. Go follow that on Twitter as well. We have our episodes up here on the main feed. Go follow us on Blue Sky, aychpodcast.bsky.social. Follow us on Instagram, AYCH Podcast. Follow us on twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear. Follow us on YouTube, All You Can Hear, where all our VODs are at from Twitch. And then finally, you can follow me, Wenzel, on Twitter at WenzyBooking. You can find my art Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky as World of Wenzy. Follow my Bookstagram, Wenzel Banters. My Linktree has links for everything, including my Letterboxd and my Goodreads.
Damn, Wenzel, that was really good. It's like, 30 links.
Yeah.
Colt, you want to go?
Yeah, my name's Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00 or on Blue Sky if that's ever going to become a thing at ColtD99.
I will say we have a lot of really cool stuff planned for the year for AYCH, All You Can Hear. So definitely keep plugged in on our socials. You'll be hearing about it there first. You can follow me on Twitter at Tanner1495. I co-run a wrestling website. You can follow us on Twitter at violent_people, or you can just visit us at violentpeople.co. Do some podcasts, do Muscle Orchestra with Chris over there, and have a whole slew of podcasts and stuff. I've been streaming on Twitch recently. If you want to follow that, twitch.tv/Tanner14. That's spelled out all the way. And yeah, just keep an eye on our socials. We have a lot of cool things coming up, I think, that I'm very excited for.
Yeah, gonna have special guests like someone named Hatsune Miku.
Oh, I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say we may have a former president on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Houdini.
Wow. Okay. Need to teach Colt a little bit about American history when we go off the air, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say we might have a serial killer on the podcast.
Whoa!
Who? Michael Myers.
Whoa!
But no, seriously, keep plugged in. AYCH, have a lot of cool stuff coming up, and I will guess with that's the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. Did Airbud kill someone before he died? I don't know.
What about the Airbud puppies? We don't know either.
Yeah, it's a shame they all drowned in that one bag incident.
Actually, fun fact, Disney killed a lot of the puppies for the Airbud puppies. That's not a bit.
Now I don't like this bit.
Like too real.
Goodbye.
Bye.